Dawa Da lawyer, Yasha Rala. Talk to my people on this one, man. Let's get it.
Yasha Rala, Yasha Rala, Yasha Rala, Yasha what's Rala?
It's all up in my blood.
Yasha what's Rala? Yasha Rala, Yasha Rala, Yasha Rala, Yasha Rala, Yasha Rala, Yasha what's Rala?
It's all up in my blood.
Yasha Rala, Yasha Rala, Yasha that's me. Yasha
Yeah, you know who I do it for. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It's all up in my blood. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Yes, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, to wherever it is you are tuning in. Welcome to the Search Engine International, and I'm your host, Brother Gocc. Joining me shortly will be Elder Rakar. Wow, interesting show tonight lined up here. We have Pastor James Manning coming in with us for the first half. Then we're gonna speak to some atheists after that. I think those of you who know Pastor Manning out there, the famous video, Hebrews. I keep forgetting it. The Israelite Hamite. You can check it out on YouTube. James Manning claims he's a Hamite and he's gonna die a Hamite. So we're gonna speak to Pastor Manning tonight on his views on the Hebrews. This should be a very interesting show coming up tonight. Okay. With me also is Elder Rakar. Elder Rakar, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Shalom, brother.
Shalom, man. How's everything?
I'm doing well. I hope you all are doing well. I hope the brothers and sisters out there are doing well. I'm doing good.
Yeah, man. Well, we're waiting here for the guests to come in. We have Pastor James David Manning on. Okay, and for the listeners who don't know who Pastor Manning is, Pastor Manning is the chief pastor at the Atla World Ministry Church on 123rd Street in New York. Manning grew up in Red Stripe, North Carolina, born to an African American family, and has been at Atla since 1981. Atla stands for All the Land Anointed Holy, which is Manning's name for Harlem. His congregation, Atla Worldwide Missionary Church, is a former Bethelite Ministry Baptist Church. The church is also the site of the Atla Theological Seminary, which offers classes on preaching and prophecy. And he'll be our first guest tonight. And as you know, Pastor Manning is also famous for the video Israelite Hamite. In the video when he said die being a Hamite. So we're gonna bring Pastor Manning on tonight to discuss some of these issues on. You understand? So while we wait for Pastor Manning, Elder Rakar, is there any announcements you want to make?
Oh, no. First of all, I wanted to thank all the brothers and sisters that are participating in the academy. That's going pretty good every Sunday, early in the morning, and I thank the Most High for that. There's a lot of things going on in Bible prophecy right now concerning Syria and Iran, which we all know, especially the listeners for this show, we know that that's prominent in prophecy. While everyone was looking at the Super Bowl and Beyonce shaking it on the world stage and flashing Illuminati symbols and Baphomet symbols to her God, Israel and America together was attacking Syria and doing things and setting up a garrison around Syria. And they usually do this while the whole world is diverted. Also, they're looking to pass legislation through national security, which circumvents Congress, that will disarm all the American citizens. And it looked like Barack Obama is going to sign an executive order. And a lot of those who don't know what an executive order is, an executive order allows the president the power of dictator. It circumvents Congress, which means the people, the Congress and the Senate and those under him have no say under these executive guidelines. And they have mechanisms in place so that if an event happens, he could bring forth this legislation and executive order at any time to confiscate guns and to make guns illegal altogether. So while everyone was looking at the Super Bowl, that was the real news. You understand? I'm kind of excited to have Pastor Manning on this evening because, you know, one thing about the brother, no doubt about the elder brother, is that he's brave. He's brave, and he does not hold his tongue. Whether or not he's right or wrong, he's willing to bring forth his opinion, and a lot of his opinion is absolutely correct. All right, so, but I know that, you know, that address to the Hebrews, to the Israelites, I definitely want to hear about that. Of course, a lot of us know that we're Hebrews or Israelites, but we don't ascribe to any hate doctrine or anything like that. But I would like to hear, as far as his theologian background. Through his theologian background, I would definitely like to hear his take on how was it through Christianity or through any other theology that the blacks in America are from the seed of Ham. I'm interested in hearing that, and I'm more excited. I'm real excited to have him on. Even outside of that, I want to talk about the RFID chip, the things Barack Obama is bringing forth. All right, and you know that he's been following. He's been on Barack Obama like white on rice. So, so if there's anything concerning Barack Obama, Pastor Manning definitely have his ear to the ground concerning him, and he's active in the community. Great man. He looks to help the people, and he deems Barack Obama, as we know, as a threat to our very existence in the black movement altogether. The opinions he's made are well documented, so we don't need to go through all the opinions, but he's been right on concerning him up until this time, and mainstream have been ignoring him, and rightfully so. After him, I'm sure brothers and sisters would like to dialogue. We have an atheist coming on tonight. It's not going to be any, after Pastor Manning, even though, really with Pastor Manning, we have to plan a complete show, almost an hour or two. I mean, this brother has been active in the community. He's been working through the civil rights movement. He's done so much for years. All right, so it'll take a whole 2 hours, an hour show to really talk to him and get down, as he say, to the nitty-gritty concerning doctrine, concerning politics, concerning the world affairs and where we stand today according to Bible prophecy. So it would take an hour show to get that all out, but we're going to try to get as much as we can within the time we have with him. And after that, we're going to open up the calls and let at least 2 or 3 callers come in to ask him questions, because I'm sure they would like to ask him questions concerning the Hebrew Israelites, for the blacks being from the seed of Ham. And he have an extended theologian. He have extended theologian credentials. So if anyone could answer how blacks in America are Ham, I'm sure he'll bring forth the information he've learned up until this point. And I'm sure he's open like any other man in this world, that if he receive understanding according to Scripture, he'll examine it and apply it if necessary. And the other part, of course, after him, we have an atheist coming on, not to go back and forth. Listen, we believe in the Bible. We believe in Christ. That will never change. But it's good to hear objective views, to hear, how they perceive there is no God or why they become atheists. And also, he's going to bring some understanding of why maybe others should be atheists. And I'm sure that not too many people will ascribe to his particular belief on this show. But usually there's a core mechanism, there's a core place in which a person becomes atheist, and usually it's because regular religion cannot explain their skepticism. So maybe we can explain a few things tonight. Who knows? It's all in the hands of the Most High. All praises to the Most High, Ahaya Bashim Yeshaya. And tonight we'll do the dialogue and see how it goes. And that's basically it. Of course, just a regular announcement, the webpage finally, we've been talking about it for almost eons now. That will be done, and we wanted to make sure it was rolled out correctly and real nice, because based on the laws they're about to pass with SOPA and everything else, this may be our last webpage we'll be able to design. So we're going to catapult that in a few days. So that's going to be nice. It's going to be sign-in membership. It's going to be daily news. It's going to be a full spread where every day it's new information, prophecy. It's not going to be where you'll go to the site and for weeks at a time it's the same information. It's going to be interactive. We're going to try to make it the best website it can be, and all praise be to the Most High, so brothers and sisters can get the information, be on it real time, according to prophecy. When we know something, we'll be able to upload it immediately. So brothers and sisters will practically live on the site. And our videos, the things that YouTube won't allow us to upload, will be uploaded to that particular site. So also, we're excited about that. And again, we'd like to thank all the brothers and sisters out worldwide. This cannot be done without you, your help. We thank you. We thank you because your work helping us will allow us to, if it be through the Spirit of the Most High, to help guide and to help establish something so that when these things fall, at least those in the knowledge of the Most High will have some level of refuge. And that's our only hope, that we can endure to the end and that we can help each other when it's time. As far as when things implode, we'll have a connection. We'll know each other and we'll find each other. So that's about it. Anything else come? We got a few hours here. I'm ready to go.
Okay. All right, Allah. We have Pastor Man in here in the studio with us tonight now, and I'm going to bring him over. Welcome him to the show. Hold on.
Hello.
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 Good evening, Pastor Man. How are you?
Just fine. How about yourself, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm your host tonight. My name is Brother Gocc, and with me also is Elder Rakar.
Bless you.
All right, well.
Yeah, man. And we'd just like to thank you for taking your time out to come on the show. And,
thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. Well, I know you have a limited amount of time with us tonight, so we're just going to go right into it. Elder Rakar, I'm going to pass it back over to you.
Yes. Bless you, Pastor Manning. And it's a privilege to have you on this evening. It's a privilege.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, jumping right into it. Everyone online or who have been online have been following, who've been following your web page, your YouTube page. Know that, like I've mentioned earlier, you've been all over the Barack Obama situation. And I know you have limited time, but maybe we'll invite you on down the line in which you can give us an update on where things stand concerning your adamant fight against evil, concerning him. But in particular, what we wanted to ask you is, and you can expound, go anywhere you want, any place you want with this. What is your take on Obama signing legislation that will mandate a two-way frequency RFID chip in the new Obamacare plan. Can you expound on that? What information you have on that?
Well, very limited information regarding that. First of all, let me be clear. I think most people know that I have diagnosed Obama as pure and unadulterated evil, the son of Satan, certainly a representative of Satan in the earth today. And I'd like to also state that many people may just dismiss those identifications as just another preacher using biblical jargon and hyperbole without a true sense of the fact that these are as accurate as we would say Obama's 6 feet tall or whatever. I wholeheartedly believe that. I have staked my life, my well-being, my family, and people that love and support me, their well-being and their safety on the fact that these are true statements about the person of who Obama is. This is not simply preacher hyperbole. That's the first thing. But the other thing is that regarding the chip that the health care program would call for is not necessary. While I don't have a lot of information about it, and I certainly do not condone it or support it in any way, I'm aboard the whole idea of it. But the Bible talks about a mark that you must have to buy and barter. That this chip is not necessarily that. But I think we've come to a time in our world where we're going to be plugged in by way of chips. We carry cell phones, our computers. We can be tracked by global systems no matter where we go. Everything we do is recorded. Every click of the stroke of the computer is recorded. So it is not unreasonable to think that they're going to make the ultimate step and implant in us a tracking device, and all the world is going to say, this is a wonderful thing, because it diagnoses our health situation right away, gets the information to the doctor instantly, lives will be saved, and yada, yada, yada. So that's about all I can say about that. It's coming, and nobody's going to turn it around.
Okay, all right. The next thing I wanted to ask you is, have you been up on the executive orders he's looking to pass as far as the mandate to disarm America? What do you think about that?
I think it's a power grab. It is one of the oldest warfare tricks in leadership, tyrannical leadership, to disarm the people, especially when you consider in America there are some nearly 300 million guns in America. We're strapped to the teeth here in this nation. And if there is an uprising or government, there's some sort of a revolution that takes place, the government will be outgunned. And so taking the weapons would be the first way to have a sense of overpowering the people. And let me point out to anyone who thinks that stricter gun laws are somehow or another going to make Americans safe. New York City, New York State has some of the strictest gun laws you can find anywhere. I mean, you're more likely to have a gun in a federal prison as an inmate than you can have a gun here in New York State. But yet the deaths continue. And the same thing with cities like Chicago and states like Illinois, or in the most recent mass murder in Newtown Sandy Hook School. Connecticut also has some of the strictest gun laws, but it doesn't stop anything. So what it does do for those who want to be able to take guns, that they might be able to promote tyranny, and that's the reason why these gun laws, Obama's pursuing these mandates to take your weapons away from him.
Okay, so what will you think, what's at the end of this? What do you think will come from?
I think this is one of the areas where Obama's going to lose. I think the American people, had he tried this maybe 3 years ago, he probably could have gotten it through and could have arrested anybody who resisted. But I think there's too much water on the bridge about people now suspecting that Obama is evil and that he wants to start a revolution in this nation. And and I don't think he's going to win this one. I don't think he's going to win. I think that the legislation will not pass, and but the revolution will come. There will be tyrannical issues going on. 2 years out from now, we're going to see a much more hostile America. We're going to see many more people rioting. The government becoming increasingly more of Big Brother. 2 years out, it's starting now, but 2 years from now, we'll be in a totally different world in terms of individual freedoms, religious freedoms, and the likewise.
Yes, I think you probably need to expound on that. I know some of the listeners here are wondering, okay, you say things will change drastically within a few years. What are the what are the changes that you see coming?
The government becoming increasingly more restrictive in terms of constitutional rights. Obama displaying more of his deep-seated desire of power and resistance to that, where I don't know how old you are, but if you remember the social civil rights movement of the 60s, coupled with the protests against the war in Vietnam, that the government was wrong for the Vietnam War and streets and violence and rioting. That was a very turbulent time, the 60s. We're going to see the 60s on steroids in the next couple of years as people began to suspect and witness that the government is tyrannical, that Obama is indeed using his evil prowess to gain power. Let me try to put it this way as well. Someone said that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Most people who run for the office of the president of any nation are very egotistical. And they don't want to give that power up once they get it. And though the term limits force them out, if they could stay in power, they generally do. Now, in order for Obama to stay in power, which I'm stating and have stated that he will do beyond 2016, he's got to destroy the Constitution and destroy anybody who opposes it. When people begin to oppose Obama's policies, then you're going to see the confrontations in the streets, the rioting, the marching, the hate-filled government activities towards its citizens, such as what you see in Syria now with Bashar Assad trying to hang on to power, and there's a revolution going on to unseat him, or as we have seen in other nations. It has happened in our nation before. It happened in the 60s, perhaps in the most dramatic way, with a large number, what one might call a perfect storm of social unrest. You had the civil rights movement where black people were demanding that Jim Crow end and that they be given equality in America, which was a separate movement all unto itself. Spawning out of that was a black nationalist movement led by Malcolm X, Muslims, the Black Panthers, and other groups that were more militant, that believed that the civil rights movement of Dr. King, turning the other cheek, was not the answer, that you needed to take the white man down with violence. So the Black Panthers were born, the Muslims grew in power. And in addition to that, you had the protests by white America against this war in Vietnam, the deaths of that were splattered across the news channels every night of young people, black and white, dying in Vietnam. Then there was a social, sexual revolution that was also going on in the 60s, where people were throwing off the constraints of the Victorian sexual idea and wanted to have free love, free drugs. So the 60s were a very tumultuous time, extremely so. What I'm simply saying to anybody who thinks it's not going to return is just look back and see where we've come from. We've had it before. This time it's going to be a whole lot worse.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for expounding. One last point before we transition into the next, to the next segment here is we wanted to ask you about the financiers, those that have backed Obama and want Obama in. And this goes beyond the black constituency or just black people. Why do you think the powers that be would like Obama or have backed Obama throughout the duration? They have hid Of course, you know they've hid his identity as far as birth. They've hid his background. Why do you think that the government powers want this particular guy as president now?
Because he's just purely good for business. He's good for Wall Street. He is good for television. He is good for advertising. We've never seen political campaigns spend as much money as the last two elections with Obama. The sensitivity, the black and white tension between sexuality, black men, white women, a black man leader, racism. It's just good. He's just good for business. Now, as far as Wall Street is concerned, Obama is business. He's a pro-business person, though he tries to pass himself off as a man for the little people, for the 99 percenters, if you will, people who are making less than that. Well, $250,000 is one benchmark, but people that are poor and struggling, he tries to pass himself off as that. But he isn't. He is really for big business because he realized that the bankers control the world. Money, nothing moves, no political campaigns, no wars can be had. You can't win an election without money. I don't care how good you are, what your policies are. You could be Mahatma Gandhi or Dr. King. If you ain't got no money, you're not going to win an election. Money talks. And Obama understands that, and big business understands it. And moreover, Obama is not just seeking money from big business. He loves promoting big business. He loves the idea of a few people controlling the wealth and resources of the world. Obama's not about the idea of everybody having an equal bite at the apple, an equal share of the pie. He's not about that. He's an elitist. He believes that a few people ought to tell the other people what to do. They're too ignorant to use money wisely. And the more you can take from the poor and give to yourself, the better off you are. So Wall Street supports him. And the other thing is that the Democrat Party, nearly every black person on the planet is on Democratic welfare. That is to say that the Democrat Party loves to dole out food stamps, welfare package programs to black people to keep them from ever thinking about starting a business and making $1 million a day on their own. As long as they're getting them food stamps, they're not going to think about rising up to do anything else, which leaves the millionaires, the billionaires, doling out a few taxes to take care of a whole 10 million black people while they're making themselves $10 million a day. It's difficult to try to explain that to people, especially those who vote Democrat. But Obama's big money man. He's a big money business person.
Okay. Man, I can speak to you all night. We definitely have to have you on just a show exclusive for you. Let me ask you this, sir. Why is Israel supporting Barack Obama? Why is it that they have supported him? I know that it seems like there's a schism there, but on the surface. But it seems like everything the war machine wants, Obama delivers. And it seems as if he's in bed with Israel. I don't want to go too far into that because the next point is the key point that I wanted to talk about outside of Obama. But what's your take on his relationship with Israel?
It is a sickness that the Israel supports Obama. That's just the best way to describe it. It's a sickness, but let me try to expound on it a little bit. There are a couple of things. The white racist people in America who feel that black people are substandard, that they do not qualify as total human beings in a major way, that they can't compete with white folk. You put black folk on the basketball team or baseball, then they'll run rings around white folk. But in terms of building communities intellectually, blacks are inferior. So they thought, these racist white folks said, well, here's one that speaks well, he conducts himself well. Let's vote for him as president, and it will allay all of our concerns about our racism, and it'll say, look at us, how liberal we are. We don't hold it against black people. We're willing to let a black person be our leader, the highest nation. And so white racist people felt that they were healing themselves, and they felt good about themselves when they went to their cocktail parties and snorting their cocaines and living in their lavish lifestyles out in Hollywood and every place else. Oh, look how wonderful we are. But it's nothing but racism. That's all that it was. Now, the liberal Jews, on the other hand, do have concerns that they have oppressed Muslims, or with respect to Israel and Palestine, they have a sense that they have dominated them, suppressed them, oppressed them, and all of the other things that go along with the relationships over the past 50 years between the Jews and the Muslims. And so many liberal Jews feel, oh, well, let's vote for a man with a Muslim name to show that we don't hate Muslims, to show that we can bow ourselves down to a Muslim, one who has a Muslim name, a Muslim father, an African name. Oh, it's the best of all worlds. He's black, he's a Muslim, and we can show how liberal and how gracious we are towards groups that we have been accused of maligning. And so let's vote for him for those reasons. And then the third and a smaller reason being is that Jews, for whatever reasons, are crazy Democrats, and that just doesn't make any sense. Now, why they vote Democrat because they believe that Republicans hate them. There was a lot of anti-Semitism coming up out of the South, the Ku Klux Klan, and Republicans embracing that idea, and so Jews are very suspicious of the Republican Party because of anti-Semitism.
So that's about it. You think they just support him just because they're liberals, as far as Israel as a whole? They are liberals, and I think the other thing I could say about this is that Jews have lost their connection with the Word of God. They have. Jews today are acting like the Jews were during the days of Jeremiah and the days of Isaiah and the days of Elijah. They're going crazy. And God had to come in and move them, send them off into captivity into Babylon. He had to send the Assyrians down into the northern kingdom and decimate them and carry them away captive. And during the days of Elijah, they sent Elijah up there to get rid of all the prophets that were lying and supporting Jezebel and Ahab. It's the same thing going on today with the Jews. They're just as bad. Except, now that's not that. Let me just qualify. A number of Jewish people, a small number of Jews, they loathe Obama, and they are not departed. They have not departed or abdicated the authority of the Word of God. They do not vote for Obama, and I need to be clear about that. And not all of them, but a remnant of them still remain faithful to the power of the Word of God. Yes, that I think now this is a perfect segue into our next line of questions. I know you have to go. We thank you. But I really want to segue into this because, Pastor Manning, we do respect you, your work throughout the community. What you're trying to do for not just our people, but your voice is profound. And as far as, you're doing what you think is right. You're helping the community. You're feeding the poor. You're doing all the things Christ said that we must do. And we definitely back you in all your efforts and pray that you stay strong through these hard times. But
thank you, sir.
You're welcome,
so much
sir.
to me. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. But I want to segue this into, first of all, I need to let you know that we are Hebrews, but we don't ascribe to any hatred, or we believe in Christ. Christ is our Savior, but we don't ascribe to any hate against no other people. We don't ascribe to cursing people out and all those things. You understand, just like during Christ's time, as you know, there was many sects of Hebrews, many sects of Israelites or Jews. And those that followed Christ were singled out, mocked, and scorned, persecuted. So, but we don't ascribe to that theology, that hate doctrine. I wanted to let you know. But when you made that I would say that statement towards Hebrew Israelites, I know that you were actually speaking of a certain faction that's getting notoriety, but you made some statements, and I thought you could probably clear it up. We have a big Israelite listenership as well as others. We have everyone listens to the show. You made a statement that there's been a lot of talk online with you addressing Israelites and saying that blacks are from the seed of Ham and not of the stock of Shem. Now, even though we don't agree based on what we've read biblically as far as the Old Testament and the scriptures and the curses concerning the 12 tribes of Israel, but we're open to hear your biblical understanding of how blacks are from the seed of Ham, if you can expound biblically on that particular point.
Well, let me thank you, first of all, for your astuteness and your integrity that you've demonstrated in your introduction of who you are and what you believe and why you believe. It was put quite profoundly and quite integral. So I thank you for having presented it that way. Let me try to give you, in the time that we have left, my biblical, not my personal, but my biblical interpretation of the controversy about Shem and Ham and whose seed we are. When God restocked the earth after Adam failed, and the men were just continually evil, the thoughts of their hearts were men only continually evil, and God brought Noah as the husbandman of the earth, and he had three sons, as we know. Shem was one, Japheth was another, and Ham was yet a third. And the Bible tells us that the son of Ham, Ham looked upon his father's nakedness, and Noah arose from his drunkenness and cursed Canaan, who was the son of Ham. And there were three prophecies given out, that Shem should dwell in tents, and Japheth, and that Ham should be the servant of them all. And it just kind of fades off from there, and the New World Order, if you will, biblically begins to develop. The land that the Jews did occupy when they came out of the land, first that God sent Abraham from the Chaldees down into a land that was named for Ham's son, Canaan land, a blessed land, a fertile, a prosperous land, the land that could only be compared to the Garden of Eden itself. Canaan occupied that land, the son of Ham. Ham, as best of my biblical studies, Ham moved from the land where the Noah first settled and into northern Africa, the area we refer to as Egypt today. And Ham began to be a builder there. He began to work with the powers that he encountered in Egypt, building the pyramids, structuring a great society, etc. But his son, Canaan, stayed in the land of his father. And these lands are just 150 to 250 miles separating the two, Egypt and Canaan land. One of the things that we notice in our studies when we talk about Ham, that though God told Abram, who at the time was simply Abram living in the land of Ur, that he was going to give him Canaan's land. He was going to give him Ham's son's land. And so he sent him down there to survey the land, to live in it, to dwell in it, and he did. But then Abram was driven into Egypt for several reasons. And he was driven from the son's land of Canaan to the father's land in Ham, that was Egypt, where Ham was most dominant, and back and forth. But when God got ready to bless Abraham, the Hebrew, he took Ham's name and put it on Abram's name and joined the two names together and called him Abraham, because he was born Abram. He wasn't born Abraham. He was born Abram. And God took Ham's name and Ham's power and Ham's authority, and he gave it to Abraham, and he put it in a name. As you very well know, that there's power in names. But you'll also notice that Ham, though his son Canaan was cursed, because Noah couldn't curse Ham in a spiritual sense, But you'll notice that the first man, the first son of God, was named Adam. And Adam's name is spelled A-D-A-M. You'll also notice that Ham, who was a very powerful man, was named H-A-M. You'll also notice that Abram, now these three men had no connect with one another. Abram, who was born and raised in Ur of the Chaldees, his name was A-B-R-A-M. So all three of these, Adam, Ham, and Abram, had the same two last letters in the traditional power of the Hebrew root, demonstrating their power. I mean, Adam was a powerful man. Ham was a powerful man. And Abram, who then God joined Abram and Ham together, and of course the twice uses the A-M in Ham's and Abram's name. Abram then gives birth to a son, Isaac, and Isaac gives birth to a son, Jacob, and Jacob has 12 sons, and then they go down into Egypt, and they stay there for 430 years, and they come out of Egypt, and they take Cain's land. The land was called Canaan land. It wasn't called Israel. And before the Jews ever owned that land, it belonged to Ham's son, Canaan. It was called Canaan land. And if you study the Bible long enough and further enough, you'll discover that the original name for that land and the original people that occupied that land were the people that Noah cursed, and Noah had the power to do that. And it was a lush land. And God took it from Canaan and gave it to Abraham and gave it to the Jews. So to the Hebrews, my understanding is that the land of power and prosperity originally belonged to Ham's sons, of which I believe that we were. I believe that we are the sons of Canaan, that we are and Ham is our father. In fact, I call him Father Ham, and I've preached sermons going back years on this matter. But I've also preached that we have lost our way, in addition to the fact that the curse was extended from Noah, and God gave Abraham, who was a traveler, a nomad, or a vagabond, if you will, gave him this precious Canaan land, and God put his stamp on it, as it later became known as Israel. But initially, all of this land belonged to the sons of Ham, whom I believe that we are. Now, I've heard some of the teaching regarding why you believe that you are the sons of Shem, and that you were never under a curse, that you are that black people, rather, are the original Hebrews. But I think that when you consider just this undeniable line between Adam, Abram, and Ham, and then Abraham, it doesn't make Ham a bad fella, and it doesn't make being the son of Ham a bad person. Nor does it make being a son of Ham less noble than being a son of Shem. And so I would encourage anyone who hasn't looked or studied long and hard about from whence we have come, and I believe that we were once a great people. I know a lot of black people think that I hate black folk, that I'm against black folk, but I have to tell you, I live in Harlem. I've lived in Harlem for 30 years. I have the means economically to go live in a more prestigious white community like all the other jigaboo preachers do. First time they get $2, they buy themselves a Cadillac and they go live near white folk. I don't do that because I believe in black people. I believe that we once a great people. We have woefully lost our way. We have woefully turned away from God. We have woefully given up our ability to be great men in the earth. And I'm doing everything I possibly can to restore that through my teaching. And the teaching has to be strong, just the way I dole it out. It has to be that way. God doesn't have to, apologize to anybody. But I'm convinced that we were once a great people, that Egypt is where we demonstrated our greatest years. And, of course, many scattered from Egypt down into southern Africa and the southern Sahara and just completely lost their way, completely got disenfranchised from knowledge, from power, from God, began all kind of abominable practices, witchcraft, voodoo, eating, cannibalism, to some degree still goes on in Africa today. And to talk about Africa, which is a a continent rather, lush with diamonds, emeralds, resources, minerals, gold, oil, and the sons of Ham went down there and did nothing because they've lost their way, and they have become subjects to Japheth and to Shem, and have allowed themselves to be cut off from their blessings. That's where I'm at. That's what I believe. That's what I've been preaching.
Okay, well, brother, we really thank you. Before you go, though, I would like to share something with you. And, of course, we want you to give our listeners all the information, how they can contact you, how they can follow you, and what we can do to help you going forward before we go. But I would like to share something with you if you don't mind.
I'm listening.
Okay. And I'm just going to give a few things because you are right concerning the state of black people and where we are. The only difference is that we believe we're this way based on a curse, not through Ham, but through breaking the law, statutes, and commandments of God as Hebrews. And that's the key. As a matter of fact, that was one of the teachings that came through the Christian theology into America during slavery. They purposely started teaching us that we were from Ham so that we would never connect to our heritage. That's what we believe. But I know some of the hate-filled understanding that's out there won't allow that message to get through. But I thought I would share this with you, and even before you're done, there's some other information I would like to share with you. All right. Because okay. You are well studied and articulate, and one of the Most High blessed you with a great mind, and and you definitely are a child of God, and I have no doubt that if you see the information, you will weigh it like you would any information. The first thing I wanted to bring forth is in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, where it gives us a definition of Ham. It says, Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and was one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. So in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, it distinctly tells us that there's 4 North African families who are Hamites, but it actually singled out the Negroes as being separate from those dark races. And it's ironic, that now when you get one of the newer revised Zondervan Bible dictionaries, they've excluded not the Negroes from the new revised version. One other thing I wanted to bring forth to you, and I agree with the state of our people. In Jeremiah 17, it tells us, and thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For you have kindled a fire in mine anger which shall burn forever. So in Jeremiah, that's also a curse of servitude, but it's not through the seeds of Ham, it's through the seeds of Shem. Now, we know, based on history, and this is something I wanted to relate to you when I seen it. I'm like, I really need to talk to this brother, because we have it documented, and I will send you the video where a rabbi even admits as such live. He was taped live, and he admitted as such that we were the Hebrews. Also, he didn't deny that they converted during the Khazarian Empire. During the time of the Crusades, when they were being pressed between the Muslims and Christians, the Khazars converted into Judaism. And this happened between the 10th and the 12th century, which is documented. Before that, the Khazarians were Romans or Edomites. They just took on the practices, and they continued to rule in the earth. But they were not the original people. And see, this is why there's been so much pushback, and people sending you. I've read some of the comments that were sent to you, because not that, it's because there is biblical fact, if you're going to go into servitude, that Israel served. Now, another good point is that Christ, in Luke the 21st chapter, talked about Israel being destroyed in 70 AD by the Romans and ran into the wilderness. As you know, being a well-studied man, Revelations 12, where they fled into the wilderness from the face of the serpent. And there's also secular history, like from Babylon to Timbuktu with Rudolph R. Windsor, that shows that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa running from Roman persecution and slavery. All of Africa wasn't inhabited by the seeds of Ham. Ham was predominantly North Africa. So that was part of the wilderness where our people, well, the black people, would be have a refuge from the Roman Empire, who was used by Satan to purge them. And then afterwards, they were found in Timbuktu, and then the Arabs and the Romans conspired for slavery for those people. And that actually fulfilled Deuteronomy 28, where it says, and you shall go into Egypt, which means bondage, a second time, or again with ships, by the way whereof I spoke unto thee. Now, in a nutshell, we understand that through these prophecies, there's only one people that fit these prophecies concerning the children of Israel. Now, the last point I wanted to make is that a rabbi came on to one of the radio shows, and it was a live radio show. We actually did this in the United Kingdom, in Manchester, and I know you visited Manchester before.
Yes, I've been before.
Yes. And we did this interview, and the Jewish rabbi admitted it in no uncertain terms, that there was a conversion of Europeans into Judaism, and that the black people are the Jews. And he went as much to say, well, I can accept you as a Jew, but why can't you accept us? Well, we told him plainly, and I'm going to send you this video, Mr. Manning, that we cannot say that you are the Jews if it's been documented through history and you've admitted yourself that your people converted into Judaism. You understand? Now, we don't disrespect you. We don't disrespect you because of this. This is, we don't blame you for this. We're just stating fact and stating history properly. And if you accept Christ, you are our brother. We don't care what you are if you accept Christ. But we're going to set the record straight according to history. Now, while I believe there's more pushback from the key information, and we're losing the key information with the Hebrews, because when people go online and they go on YouTube or whatever the case is, they see someone calling the white man a devil, cursing people out, and here it is, because everyone runs to mischief and runs to these hot, what I would call hot button points for entertainment. I think the message is being lost concerning the Hebrews and their fall. And our fall was not to blame the white man. If it wasn't for us breaking God's law, there would not have been oppression. There would not have been the curses. The Most High gave us in Deuteronomy 28 blessings and curses. So instead of blaming someone, I think one of the key remedies would be going back from whence we fell and follow the truth of Christ and go back to God's law instead of blaming the whipping stick that God have used to move us back in order. So I just wanted to state that. I wanted to speak to you about it, and I'm glad you're on the show. And I want you can have the last word as far as giving us information on where we can send you this key detailed information. And I'm going to tell you why it's so important. We're in the time of Jacob's trouble, as you know, being a pastor. And it's hard to understand what Jacob's trouble is if you don't understand who is Jacob. And this one little point of not identifying who the 12 tribes are throws all prophecy out of whack. And we know that the Most High God is not the author of confusion. So I want to share with you. I'm not here to debate you. I'm not here to, I respect your work in the community. I respect what you've done. But I think that, and I know that we all are open as long as we are vessels of God to receive understanding. And if the truth comes and can help us with our movement on either side, then it's a blessing. And that's the point I wanted to make with you, sir. It's not to debate or go. It's just we found some key information that we need to share because we're in the last times. You are our brother. We are under Christ. We are under the blood of Christ. We need to be baptized for the remission of sin. We need to stop the hatred. All these things, we agree 100%, but I just need to send you this information so you can see it from the other perspective, outside of all the entertainment that comes with Hebrews right now.
All right. Well, you in terms of sending me that information, you've got my mail and all of my information, how to contact me and how to forward the information to me. So I'd appreciate receiving, and I'll review it when you send it. But let me offer a closing comment.
Yes.
On your understanding of your lineage, or our, if you would say, lineage and Shem. I'm not going to openly and just without consideration, or as your words, I'm not going to not weigh what you've said. I'm not going to simply refute it. I will weigh it, and I'll give it over to prayer. But there are a couple of things that I think that your explanation and presentation has sparked or engendered in me in our dialogue here today. Number one is that both Ham and Shem were brothers of the same father and the same mother. There's no doubt about that. However, it was Shem that got the lion's share of the blessing, and we know that when God chose to bless a people, the Hebrews were those chosen people. There's no doubt about that. And others were subject to being blessed through the lineage of Shem. I understand that biblically. The Bible is clear about that. Now, identifying who we are as what I've called the dark-skinned, kinky-haired people, who we are in terms of that lineage, I hear your presentation regarding Shem. But the thing that we ought to also keep in mind is, and I'm not clear about this, I have not studied, I have not found anything in my studies that would cause me to, at this present moment, even suspend my belief in the Hamite lineage. And nothing that you've said at present. But what I will do is that I will consider the fact that because Shem and Ham were brothers, that we can look very much alike and yet not be from the same father. But then the other problem that you're going to have, or that you presently have, as you very well know, is not so much with black people being the sons of Ham, but with the present people who call themselves Jews that are of a lighter color and texture of hair. Because what you're doing is that you're not competing with me, you're competing with them. And I'm sure you have responses to that as well. And that will be the weightier part, I think, of a presentation. Because in making the decision, and as I said before, I'm not even considering suspending my beliefs about Hamites. I'm pretty sold on it. However, I'm open to listen to what you say without just openly and rejecting you. I do not dismiss you out of hand, or that what you're saying does not have biblical and historical merit. I did not say that. It does. However, there obviously is an issue, and the issue is it's a question of questions, because when you look at who we are as a black people, obviously loss of identity is one of our gravest, if not our gravest, even beyond the curse. The curse could have engendered the loss of identity, but we really don't know who we are, and that's problematic. But to the next hurdle would be, well, what are you going to do with the people that say they are Hebrews and that they're now occupying the blessings and the land of Israel and the bosom of Abraham? What are you going to do about that? in terms of explanation. And I'm not going to ask you to respond to that because it'll take you another half an hour to make a presentation, and I really don't have the time. I have to get to the prayer meeting that's going on in our church. This is Wednesday night. We do our prayer meeting worship thing, and I really have to get to that. I had only committed for half an hour, now nearly an hour, but you're so intriguing, I had to stay. Send me the information, and we'll talk again. Call Elizabeth and set up another appointment for me. Now, I do a lot of interviews, so it may take some time, but I was able to get this one done right away today. But let's talk again.
Okay, Pastor Manning, before you go, would you mind if I just open the call for 2 or 3 callers, because I have a lot of callers here in the list. I'm not sure they want, they just want to speak to you real quick. Do you mind sparing me 5 more minutes?
I'll give 5 more minutes, but I really have to go after that.
All right, man. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm gonna bring in Elder Gocc from New York. Yeah.
Well, let's do this. Make sure we limit the questions to 2 each, 2 minutes each, so that we can at least get 2-3 questions in, and that's max.
Okay, then.
Because
right.
He said 5 minutes. Let's give him 5 minutes, and we'll just reschedule, and have a time where we can, because there's so much we want to talk about tonight. And I mean, Pastor Manning, we really, brother, we thank you, and you not only brother, elder brother. You understand?
Thank you, and God bless you, sir, richly.
Well, bless you, brother. And I just want to make sure we respect your time. We thank you for going past the time, so we're going to try to be as respectful as we can with the minutes. So, please, when you come on, please make it brief, short, so that we can get as many as we can within the next 5 minutes.
Okay. Let me bring in Elder Gocc.
Shalom, brothers. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Pastor Manning, for coming. I'm familiar with the actual location of your church because I actually run the New York division of the GOCC Church in New York and Harlem. I'm in 125th Street, the East Side. So what I would do is I would like to give you several books like Babylon the Timbuktu, also Hebrewism in Africa, and also some other links like the history of the Igbo tribe and the Lumber tribe in Africa, which been proven to be descendants of Hebrews, not only through DNA but also through historical. So if you don't mind, I could maybe put a package and maybe send it to you in your church, and then you could take a look at it as well.
I would gladly receive it. I can't promise you I'm going to read all of them. Generally, what I do, I get a lot of books every day. I just kind of try to find the important parts that the author is making, but there's no way I can read everything. But go ahead. You know where I'm at. You know our locale. Send them over. Tell them who you are, and someone at the door will receive them.
Thank you so much. God bless.
God bless you as well.
Hi, shalom.
Shalom.
Hey, Mr. Manning, how are you today?
Just fine, sir. How about yourself?
Hey, I'm pretty good. Hey, I was wondering if we could look at a couple of scriptures real quick.
All right.
Can we look at Revelation chapter 2:9?
Chapter 2?
Chapter 2. And
okay.
Verse 9.
What verse are you talking about?
Verse 9.
Okay. He just say they're Jews, but they're not, but they're the synagogue of Satan.
Right. Now, if we look at chapter 3 and verse 9, it kind of says the same thing, right, brother?
I'm looking for 9 says, and behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan. Yes, okay.
Now, when you take those two into consideration, and you look at the bloodline of the people that call themselves Jews today, they are actually considered Ashkenazi Jews. Now, when we take that name Ashkenazi and we go to Genesis 10, we learn that those are sons of Japhet. We go to well, I just heard you mention the Jew situation of people that dwell in this, the tents of Shem, and I just wanted to, make mention that when you look at these scriptures and you follow these scriptures, it says, it leads you through to Psalms 83, where it says that they have come together and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may no more be in remembrance. So I heard you say that you're going to consider all this, so I just like to just put this in that little pot, when it's all boiling around, because there is an issue here with the community of people that are considered Negro or considered black, but when you look at this name black, it doesn't lead to a name of a nation, and that's all I wanted to say. I appreciate the work you do.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Shalom.
All right. We'll take one more.
Caller, let me bring the caller in 1 minute. Let me just get the caller in one sec. Here we go. And then we have brother Ralph with a question. Shalom, brother Ralph, you there?
Yeah, shalom, shalom, brother Gocc. Can you hear me?
Clearly.
Okay, shalom, Elder Carr and Pastor Manning.
Yes, sir.
Actually, I had, Actually, I didn't have a question directed towards Pastor Manning. It was actually for Elder Carr. So I don't know if I can ask that question, or you want.
Okay, I tell you what.
If you have it for the elder, let the elder take care of it. I'm sure he can do that. And I'm going to just speak my blessings of shalom to all your brothers, and God's richest blessings of power and wisdom and understanding upon you. But I must disengage. I really have got to go. I've got to go. Thank you all for honoring me with this discussion we've had. I feel quite honored, and we'll talk again sometime soon. God bless you. Shalom.
Thank you for coming. It's been a pleasure having you. You have a good evening, okay?
Yes.
Okay, Elder Ricard, can you hear me?
Yes. What is the question?
Yes, shalom, Elder Carr. This is Brother Rafaz calling out of Georgia, Atlanta. There was a brother that had he brought like a document to my attention. I don't know if you ever heard of a document. It's called the Gocc document, or sometimes it's called the Teaching of the Lord to the Gentiles by the 12 Apostles. Are you familiar with that document?
You said it's the what document? What's the name of it? I mean, not the name of it. You said Anunnaki?
No. It goes by two names, but the simple name is it's called the Teaching of the Lord, the Gentiles by the 12 Apostles, and also it's also called the Gocc. Like, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but
okay. I don't know. I don't know of what you speak, but what is the question concerning it?
Well, yeah, he had brought my attention, and I looked it up and I read it, and there was for the most part, it sounded like it was on point, but there was certain areas I wasn't sure about. Like, I'll just read one part where it's talking about dealing with fasting. It says and let not your fastings be with the hypocrites, for they fast on the 2nd and the 5th day of the week. But do ye keep your fast on the 4th, on the preparation day? So I don't recall any scriptures, that where we had to fast certain days. I thought I would ask you, and have you ever heard anything like that before? Or?
Well, I don't have no record of that, so I can't speak of something I have no knowledge of.
Okay then. Also I had a statement that's basically concerning the Hebrew Bible College. I was I've been I know it's too late now, but I was trying to get into this academy. I was because in the past I didn't have any problems getting in the academy, because I've been in the academy four times straight. But for some reason, when I requested to get into this one, I got a couple responses, but I never received an email link, and like I said, I kept sending me emails, and I brought it up to my local elder, and he tried to get in contact, and I guess he didn't receive a response, so I didn't know what I didn't understand what was going on, because I had wanted to partake in those 2 new lessons that I brought forth in this academy. And so I was,
well, if you want to be a part of the academy, you can't get in for 2 lessons. You have to get in throughout the whole academy.
Right, I understand. because usually because normally I didn't have any problems before because I always always paid my fees
No,
in
but
full.
I don't want to hold up too much of the radio time concerning this particular thing. But what I want to say is that if you are looking to become a part of the academy, just send an email and say you want to be in the academy, and it's clear, we'll let you in with no issue. If you sent an email saying that you wanted to be in one or two of the lessons, then even though I don't deal with the academy information, I don't deal with none of that. Someone else administers that. I'm sure that's why you didn't get a response if you made it seem as if you just wanted to be in for a particular lesson that wasn't taught in the past academy. But whatever that is, send an email. Let us know what you want in detail, and if you want to come back in the academy, we'll make sure you get all the past lessons, including the two you wanted to see, and you'll be able to go forward.
Oh, okay, all right, okay. I did try to. I did request those to be in the academy, period. But especially this one. But I don't know. Maybe they didn't understand what I was saying. But I'll just make it simple. Just say I want to be in the academy. That's it. All right.
And we'll make sure you get in.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, all right. No problem.
All right.
Appreciate it. Water.
Okay, brother Alf, when you hear mute, just push 1 for me, okay? All right. Just push 1 for me. When you hear mic muted, all right? Okay, cool. Brother Alf lost the call there. Okay. All right. That was a good interview with Pastor Manning right there. You understand me? So, watching him seeing him on the video and listening to him speak here was different. I never, it surprised me a bit. You understand me? I have to give big ups to him.
Yeah, I have to give all due respect to him. It's a few things that was through philosophy when he went into the name of Ham and Abraham and things of that nature. But the whole thing is, you understand, we have to look at a man's contributions, and he can only teach what he was exposed to up until this time. I think the mistake we make is to make a prejudgment on a person because they don't outright agree or understand what we understand. Mm-hmm. But you can't blame a person who wasn't exposed to it. Mm-hmm. So he will stand on what he believes and what he's been taught until he learned otherwise. That's what happened with that's what happened with me. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened with whatever person out there that are looking to link in spiritual and follow the Most High. No one had it all at once. Mm-hmm. Well, all in all, he's dedicated. A lot of things he said is right on, and he called the Barack Obama thing a long time ago. As far as I remember we were speaking on the street before there was YouTube or anything, but real big like that. And we made videos on because he popped out of nowhere. There's a few other questions that I wanted to go into, but we had to skate through it with the time restriction. If now we have the son of Satan running around, which the Christians call the Antichrist, then that lends to another question: why haven't the church been raptured? So, if this guy is bringing forth the mark of the beast and all its satanic splendor, according to the pre-tribulation doctrine, before the Antichrist is revealed and he institutes the mark of the beast, the church would be raptured. Mm-hmm. But here it is, you got a two-way RFID device, which they are now, and he did mention that RFID is almost in almost everything you utilize, but it hasn't been transitioned into one device like the RFID chip that will make all other RFID devices obsolete once it's instituted. Mm-hmm. So yes, it's in your cell phone. Yes, it's in all these different things. But soon, you understand, it's going to be transitioned into the chip in which you're not going to need none of those alternative things you've been utilizing. So, and you'll be linked to a demon. Mm-hmm. Called the Beast. It's a computer in Belgium. But that's all I needed to say on that. We thank the brother for coming on, let's transition to the next part. We have the atheists coming in, right?
Yeah, they're just calling in now. They're gonna be in about, so we give them about 5 minutes to get everything in the studio back in. And I think Brother Lexwell wants to share something else on the RFID chip. I'll bring him in a minute. And I got Elder Gabar here as well. Elder Gabar, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Elder Ricard, I think, because I know the church that he's, which he teach and he does congregate. I think what we should do is, I'll put together a package, and then I think probably the best way to approach it is to print it out and maybe set up a system that we would point out exactly the meat and potatoes of where we want him to go to, because clearly we don't want him to go and read a whole entire book. And, I think I'm going to, the Babylon came up too. I have several books in my house. I could give him one of them. I could also order the Hebrewism in Africa book, the history of the Igbo tribe, the history of Lumba, things of that nature, the history of the Igbo tribes in Africa, understanding that their brothers and sisters are here in America. But we could set up a package that it would be direct to the point. That I think it will be a powerful. And like I said, I'm surprised. I think he was open to it, and every time I hear you brothers, elders, and with these interviews, it just confirms my validation or confirms my feelings or validates my feelings that this is the approach we should have done years ago. And a lot of those brothers on the streets is just basically they're stopping progress. That's the best way to describe it. They're still going to be stuck in the street for the rest of their life, screaming at people. And but we still got to do the work, and then So outside this radio show, Elder, I think we should maybe you give me some suggestions. What should I give them? And we'll communicate with that and the best way to approach it.
Well, one point that I wanted to make on what you said, and you're right on, but I wanted to say on top of that is you say they're going to be on the street screaming on people, but I don't think that's so soon. You understand? Because even back then, even when I was teaching in the 90s, they would have agents come up and take all types of pictures. When I was in Philly, people would come up and take pictures of the camp and do certain things. Mm-hmm. Also, it's a lot of things I can talk about that have happened. But they have dossiers, thick dossiers on everyone that have ever taught outside. Even if you are Israelite, no matter what you are, Black Panther, whatever you are, there's dossiers on particular people. Not because of what you believe in general. It's the fact that you're idealistic, mm-hmm. and you will not be a good candidate for re-education. Mm-hmm. So that's the key thing. So they're not discriminating on who they'll put in on the red list. Why? Because they know those that are idealistic, even though we haven't come to the fullness of understanding to come together righteously the way we should. But all in all, we can if we're breathing, we'll eventually get there. Mm-hmm. We'll eventually cleave to each other and come to a union of spirit. Mm-hmm. So that's what they fear. That's what Satan fears, and it's the fact that we Israelites were waking up. And even though brothers could be Black Panthers, Egyptologists, whatever the case is, there's dossiers being made. On right. top of that, they mainstreamed it through the social networks and YouTube, to assure that with the fusion centers they can get these people out of the way, because these people have the power to jog ideas, to stimulate the people
other people.
They need to re-educate.
Right,
exactly.
influence other people. Yeah.
Yeah. So soon there will be no people on the street. It's about to change. Which in that, you look what just happened to Malcolm X's grandson. He's mm-hmm. been swooped up. He was on his way to Iran. I don't know why he was going there, but he made it public that he's going to go there for a referendum about Israel and America. And, America's about to go to war with Iran, and Israel is about to go to war with Iran. So he had a scheduled trip to speak freely, and now he's being held by the FBI, and they haven't given his family rights or nothing to contact, and they just swoop them off the street. He's just somewhere. Mm-hmm. You understand? So that's the time we're in, and these fusion centers are ready to go. They have hired the internment officers for the camps. They're all ready. The only thing they need is the people. So, and when people like us, idealistic people who are operating in the spirit, if they get any of us, even though it's nonviolent, even though it's spiritual, even though we're talking about Christ, which is also, if you believe in a man that resurrected and went into heaven and sprayed his blood on the heavenly tabernacle, that they have a psychological term for that, which will put you in the nut house. But all in all, once they transition, if they get idealistic people who they know are operating with the spirit and who could stimulate the ideas of a populace, it's immediate execution. Okay? First of all, they're going to put people on psychotropics and say they're going to tell the people that you died of something else, and they're going to lie. But all in all, it's about getting rid of those who can see outside the paradigm. So it behooves those brothers to be careful what they say on the street and to change their dialogue, because everything they say will be used against them. And to be ready to operate as pilgrims in the earth, like it tells us in 2nd Ezra. A pilgrim is being able to operate with what's on your back. Okay?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I know you wanted to say something in between. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, but I to be honest with you, Elder, I think we, in the approach that we are approaching this, we are a greater threat. I truly believe that. I think you just look at how far we have gone, and what we take these little things, these little, the interview you had with the rabbi in the UK, and the interview that we had tonight, the interview that we have, last week on Thursday with the two pastors waking up of the fact that they're Israel and we have to keep the laws. I mean, this would never happen. This could only happen with this, dealing with this information. The only way we bring it, and it is this is validates. I think we are a greater threat, and I'm not concerned about those brothers, because I think those brothers are really not a threat. I think those brothers are being, it's like the same way I look at them now, in the same way as I look at Alex Jones, in the sense that they allow them to live or to exist because they fit a purpose, a radicalism, But I think we're not radical. We could have a conversation and we could engage, and I think that's more dangerous. And like I said, if you could convince Pastor Manny to take a look at stuff, and like I said, clearly we cannot deny that the zeal for his people and his love for his people. If you see some of his sermons, he's literally yelling at his congregation. He's very critical on the African or the so-called African American community. So if this sparks up a trend, and just looking at the other pastors that we had on the show, and I'm communicating with other pastors. If this starts a trend, I think that's more dangerous. And I think so. But I believe that those brothers are, once we go over that little hump of, we're not like them, and then we clearly have to explain that to every time we have a conversation about, the so-called African American community claiming to be Hebrews. Once they understand, okay, they're not like them, okay, they could receive, as this brother did tonight. He could at least consider and look at it. If you're going to look at it, I'm pretty optimistic about it. I felt a good feeling about it. but I think we are better threat. So I'm more excited than anything else, but it's also kind of scary because it's I'm seeing a trend that people are now considering this question. This thing is becoming much more popular than people give it credit. I mean, even from the perspective of Pastor Tony Smith, Pastor Dow, all these pastors came from mainline Christians who converted and say, we Hebrews. And it all started from, from just, a radical group in New York, and it just exploded. But, I'm just looking at the change, and I'm just looking at the awakening that is happening rapidly. And like I said, I won't be surprised that, in a few weeks or, next year or so, Pastor Manning said, I'm a Hebrew. I wouldn't be surprised. So I'm very excited. Also, yeah.
Well, listen, I wouldn't be surprised, and it's a lot coming from you and others, especially a brother like you who've been through the old school and can see the clear difference in the work as far as it's the approach, and it's what Christ said. Christ says He sent us out as sheep among wolves, be wise as serpents and harmless as a dove. Mm-hmm. And I learned with this knowledge, with the understanding of who we are, there's no need for vulgarity. There's no need for pompous boasting, and the truth stands alone. And the exaltation of the Most High in Christ holds its own weight. And I think that when we get in the way with our personal feelings towards others, that changes the mission altogether. So, but all in all praise be to the Most High. And I knew something was in Pastor Manning based on his dedication. He just don't deal with any foolishness. So, and a lot of people look at him as house Negro, call him house nigger and this, that, and the other. But listen, his way of challenging the community is making them feel like that. So to challenge them to be better. He's not doing it to say that it's not that he thinks white people are better, but if he put that out there, he's hoping that black people will strive and see it and say, you know what, they're not better. So he's doing it as more so a psychological way of stimulating the population or stimulating the blacks to do better because he knows our potential. So, but others will perceive that as him being a house Negro or whatever the case is. And I don't perceive that at all. You understand? And and when you want a good laugh, sometimes you got to go because he's boom laka laka whatever he says, and you know what I mean. He's well spoken. He's motivated. He's strong for an older man, and he's to be respected. And I'm gonna tell you this, man. That's what we've lost. So what if an older person don't have all the knowledge we have? Because the Most High says, through the mouth of babes, he shall speak to his people. All in all, we can still learn a lot from the elders or the older people, because age is an experience that you can't learn in scriptures. And that's another thing, I think, and that's why the Bible says knowledge puffeth up. We get enough knowledge and we think that, okay, because we got this knowledge and someone older don't, that makes us with more wisdom, or we can teach them. Yes, you can teach them, but you have to come in a humble stance. And they must first see you respect their tenure. You must respect their tenure. You must respect their age because they've worked for that. So,
absolutely.
All right, so well, let's get the next caller on, and you can follow us along, Gabar.
I'm in the studio.
All right. Bless you. All right. All right, Gocc, anytime.
Oh, sorry, I had my mic on mute. Excuse me.
That's
yes. Everyone, welcome back to the search. Well, welcome to the search engine. If you're just joining us, I'm your host, Brother Gocc. Me and Elder Rakar. The numbers to call are 646-200-4309. If you're just joining us, we just had Pastor Manning on. We're going to go into the second segment of the show. We have an atheist on tonight as well. And if you want to hear what happened with Pastor Manning, you can go back to the archive and listen to the show. To remind you again, we broadcast on Blog Talk Radio 4 days a week: Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. On a Sunday, we have the Hebrew Way of Life with our brother Xavier. On our Wednesday night, myself and Elder Rakar with the Search Engine International, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On a Thursday night, What Scripture Is That by Brother Ra'ai. And on the Friday night, Brother Romar with Coming Out of Babylon. For the last 2 weeks, we have been doing that show. We call it the Friday Night Takeover, but this week, Brother Elder Romar should be back with you doing it as usual. All right? Let me bring in my next caller, Brother Natazar, with a comment.
Shalom, elders.
Shalom, how you doing?
Shalom.
Doing well. I just want to make this comment. Regardless of my differences in belief with Pastor Manning, I have really thoroughly enjoyed listening to you brothers speak. And you conducted such an intelligent dialogue. It's without vain puffing up of pride, without offense, yet it was without compromising the truth. And it's going to command such a respect that those that hear it have to look into it. They're going to want to look into it. So the water, because that itself is unfortunately a rarity, in any public dialogue between our people. And I totally agree with Elder Gabar when he said it was dangerous, because it is. It's dangerous when we conduct ourselves like that.
Well, it's righteously dangerous.
Right. That's correct.
It's righteously dangerous.
I agree.
And the whole deal is, if you're going to go out swinging, it's going to overtake us one way or the other. For those that are on the sideline doing nothing, it's going to take them anyway. So it's dangerous living in this world during the time of Jacob's trouble, and that's for everyone. So we might as well go out swinging. Okay.
Right.
So, and Christ says that we must be willing to give our life as a living sacrifice, which is our reasonable service. That's the least we can do for all the evil and ills we've done in this earth. The least we can do is go out fighting for the Most High. You understand? And stand for truth. So that's the reasonable service, brother. So it's all good. And Gabar is absolutely correct. Doing the truth is dangerous. But it was dangerous for Christ. It was dangerous for the disciples. That's the lot we pulled. You understand? As far as
right.
Brethren, we have to be, and sisters, we have to be willing to go all the way out. And I'm sure our brothers and sisters, as we come closer to the end, will do just that.
Well,
all right.
I just want to say that. Bless you guys, and shalom.
Shalom. Bless you. Okay, so who we have up next here?
Okay, let me see. We have Joel and Stephen Gibson. Okay, let me bring them in here. Now, okay, Joel, can you hear me?
I can hear you. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Stephen, you there?
Yes.
Okay. For my listeners who just tuning in, you're locked into the Search Engine International, and I'm your host, Brother Gaja with Elder Rakar. The first part of our show dealt with Pastor Manning. I know we have went into atheism right now with my next two guests. Joel, what's your surname, Joel?
I'm sorry?
What's your surname?
My name is Joel Pelletier.
Joel Pelletier and Stephen Gibson. All right?
Okay, real quick, because, because we're going to have to go through it. We want to make sure we get everything in. We're going to need a key person between you two that we're going to have to deal with, so that we can go straight through. So have y'all
you can throw questions, and then I can toss them back to Stephen or get his opinion as well, or However
Sure,
you
that's
want to
fine.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go right into it. You all are atheists. Okay. Just so we can get to the bottom of this, let me ask you a few questions concerning this.
We'll try to answer.
Okay. First of all, I would like to thank you for coming on, and hopefully we can all come to some type of spiritual understanding before this is all said and done. So what is the origin of being an atheist or atheist teaching, and when did you become an atheist?
To be an atheist is to live your life without concern or making a decision of whether or not a god or gods exist in your decisions in life. It's the lack of a belief, because you have to have a belief to believe in God.
I don't think. Let me ask you the question again.
Okay.
What is the origin of atheist teachings?
I have no idea. People. As long as there's been people who haven't believed that there are ghosts or goblins or angels or gods.
Sir. I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm going to speak without you speaking, and you can answer, and I won't speak while you're bringing the answer. That's how we can have a very sufficient, or I would say efficient, dialogue. Is that okay?
Uh-huh.
So I need answers to specific questions.
If I can't answer the question, I will tell you that.
Okay. If you can't answer it, just say you can't answer it.
Absolutely.
Okay. What is the origin of atheist teachings, and when did you become an atheist?
I have no idea about the origin of atheist teachings. I became an atheist probably when I was in my early teens.
Okay, one moment. Okay. What were you before you were an atheist?
Well, my family, my father was born a Catholic, my mother was born a Protestant. We were raised going to a number of different Protestant churches. When I was in my early teens, they switched to an evangelical church, which started to really turn me off, amongst other things. And at some point in my mid-teens, I made it known that I did not believe and did not want to continue to attend church.
Okay, so you were raised a Christian. I
was raised in a Christian household, yes.
Okay, great. Now, as far as an atheist are concerned, are you saying there is no God? Or do you believe there is?
Exactly. What I am saying is I don't make any decisions or give any thought to the idea of whether or not the supernatural exists. I assume
I
it does not.
understand that. Believe me, after I do my line of questions, you can bring all the opinion you want, but I need these specific questions answered.
All of these questions, if I could, are opinion, but go ahead.
Are you saying there is no God?
I am saying there's no God in any way that human beings can describe or conceive of, yes.
Okay. So do you believe there could be something out there?
By something, you mean supernatural or something other than physical?
Well, could it be something out there outside of us? Could there be, according to whatever way you could philosophize it, do you believe that there's a force on the outside of the earth?
Not in any way that I believe you're describing, no.
Okay, so what way do you believe it?
It's not a question of belief. I believe in what I see and what goes on in our lives. There's a physical and there's...
Sir, you said not in the way I'm believing it. In which way do you think something is out there, is what I'm asking.
No, I don't believe that anything is out there. Stephen, you want to take a shot at this?
So you don't believe anything that's out there, right?
I don't believe that anything is out there supernatural, meaning above...
I didn't ask you whether or not it's supernatural. I asked you, do you believe there's anything out there?
But that is what you're asking me. You're asking me if there is a God. God is, by definition, something that's supernatural.
No, I didn't ask you that, sir. I asked you, let's leave the word God out of it real quick. Do you believe there's some force outside this earth?
No.
Somewhere.
Besides natural laws of gravity and light and, all of that other stuff, no.
Okay, all right. Now,
but if I could just interject for a moment, I don't believe that it matters if something like you're describing exist or not. It does not affect my life.
Well, as far as whether or not it matters, we're going to get to that.
Okay.
All right. The next question I have for you, and maybe you can break this down. How was the universe created?
I have no idea, and I don't care.
All right. The next question I have, real quick here. Okay.
Let me ask you. Can I ask you something? You want me to wait, and then I can ask you a couple questions?
Well, you can ask me many questions. I need to roll these questions.
No. That's okay. I don't want to interrupt your flow. Go for it.
Okay, because we're going to come to an understanding.
Okay. Well, we'll try. We'll try.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So the first thing is when I asked what is the origin of atheist teachings, you had no idea.
There are atheist teachings. There are no atheist teachings like there are Christian teachings, Buddhist teachings, Jewish teachings.
Well,
Islam
brother,
teachings.
I didn't ask you about that. I just asked you what was the origin of it because since you don't know, I'm going to actually give that to you. The second point is when you say when I ask, is you saying that there is no power? Is there a force out there? You said, well, not that you know of, so you have no idea about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ask you, how was the universe created? You have no idea.
I have no idea. How would any of us have any idea? It's billions and billions and billions of years ago.
No. Just say how you don't have an idea.
I have no idea, nor do I care.
That's you.
It is here. I live in it.
Let's make it clear. You can't say what other people have experienced because it's a separate.
No, I'm not suggesting that. I'm not suggesting that I can.
Exactly. So, according to you, you have no idea how the universe was created.
You asked me if I knew. I do not.
Okay, good. All right. So, now you can ask me a few questions.
What difference does it make how the universe was created?
The difference
to you personally in your life.
To me personally.
Yes.
I can only answer through Scripture.
Okay, whatever. I mean, that's what you're answering me the way some human being answered between 2,000 and 4,000 years ago.
Well, I don't have nothing to do with the human beings 2,000 years ago. You asking me
Well, you do if you're quoting Scripture because they were written by people.
Well, do you want me to answer the question or not?
Well, you're telling me that you don't personally have any knowledge or understanding of how the universe is created. You
that's not what I'm
refer to something that someone else wrote.
Well, sir, that's not what I'm telling you.
Okay. What else you got? Go ahead, ask me more questions.
I'm saying that's not you asked.
That's fine, and I'm not trying to be argumentative. As an atheist, and I'm only one of two people on the line, and maybe Steve can interject for a moment. As an atheist, in general, atheists would answer this way: we don't care how the universe is created. It does not affect our lives.
Okay, you were asking me a line of questions of why do I care, or how was the earth created based on...
No. I asked how that would affect you.
You want me to answer it?
Go ahead.
Okay. It would affect me to respect my Creator. Okay? Because that Creator gave me a purpose within creation.
And what is that purpose?
The purpose is to serve the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments, and to receive the promises of eternal life according to my God.
According to the Scripture that you accept as reality.
No, according to my God.
There's lots of gods. Which God are we referring to?
Brother, listen.
No, that's a legitimate question. Which God? Brother, there are many gods that have been in existence. Which one are you referring to?
Let me explain it to you. Okay? There's experiences that I have experienced outside the Scriptures that bear witness that the Scriptures are true. So it's been physical evidence, manifestations within the earth that bear witness of the truth. There have been prophecies that have been fulfilled. That we live in those prophecies make us living witnesses. that the
Okay.
scriptures.
And I appreciate that you're being sincere. If you can appreciate that, I think that's all ridiculous. But go ahead.
Okay, well, that's your opinion, brother. But if you ask
of course,
the
and
question,
we're both perfectly entitled to our opinion.
Okay, all right.
We're both men. We're both alive. We both love life, and we both enjoy, what it has to offer.
This is not a dialogue going to go. Okay. The way we're going to do this is, if you ask me a question, I'm going to answer it. I'm going to answer it honestly.
Okay.
And
you've answered the question, and I appreciate your answer. Thank you.
Okay. Let me speak to the other brother that's there.
Hello, this is Stephen.
Stephen, can you have a dialogue without cutting people off and letting them speak, and then that person let you speak?
I could try.
Okay, well, if you can't, then that's going to end this dialogue tonight. So can you try to have a conversation where one person speak, then when a person is finished, then the other person speak? Can you attempt it?
Certainly.
Okay, great. You're the guy I'm going to talk to tonight, all right? We brought you on this evening because you were atheist, and we're trying to figure out not you tearing down or you trying to say what you think is wrong. I need you to go into the atheist understanding of how that's right.
Uh-huh. Do you want me to start now?
Yes, I need you to go into your dissertation on how being an atheist is right. Don't even think about Christians or any other religion out there. Just go into how being an atheist is right.
Sure, absolutely, and that is a very sensible way of going about it, because atheism means, from the Greek, no belief in any God. So, where I come from and where most atheists come from is not to believe in any gods. So we live our lives believing in science and rationality, believing in, the life and the world around us. So I would consider myself a humanist atheist, so I believe in what's good for people and, how we can make a good world. I believe in science. I really enjoy science. I enjoy the wonders of the things around me. I understand about electricity and about magnetism and about the things that make our engines run, make our houses run, make all the airplanes fly and technology work, and it's marvelous. It's such a freeing life to really believe that there's forces that control what happens in the world around us, and we can look at a flower and understand why a flower has the shape it has, and why it has the smell it has, and why animals and insects and creatures operate in the world. It's a beautiful feeling, and it's wondrous, and it brings such a sense of wonder and joy that I love to tell people about atheism.
Okay. Well, let me ask you a few questions on the lines of morality, if you don't mind, you being an atheist. Bestiality. What is an atheist's take on bestiality? That's a person having intercourse with an animal.
Well, I think the laws of the land, generally should be followed. If it's against the law in the country we're living in, then that's a problem. Then we should, people need to obey the laws, and laws need to be enforced.
What if it's not against the law in a country? Suppose there's no law enforcers around, and someone wants to have intercourse with an animal. What is your take on that as an atheist?
People should do what's good for the community and what's good for the survival of people and nature and the things around us. So I fortunately I don't generally have a problem with with that with people around me. But if someone came, if I was a judge and someone came before me and I had to rule on something like that, I would try to decide what's good for the community. If some person doing some the Roman Catholic Church has horrible problems right now with priests abusing children. If I were a judge, I would look at the situation. Is this wrong right now? Is this wrong for people? Is this hurting people? And I would judge accordingly. Same thing with bestiality. I would judge based on what I believe and what I see is happening around me.
Okay, so let me make it clear. When it comes to the orders that's established within government, you all agree with that order. Is that correct?
Well, could I interject for a moment? This is Joel.
Well, no, Joel, I'm speaking to the other brother
let me just be clear that you can't ask one person to represent all of atheism, and that view that he gives is the view of all atheists. So
I'm saying, are you representing all atheists?
No, we're representing ourselves. Are you representing all Christianity?
All right. So this time we're going to do this. I'm going to let you interject.
I appreciate that, sir.
Okay.
Ask me the question that you just asked Stephen.
Okay. What is your take on people having sex with animals?
I think that they are psychologically damaged, and if I physically saw that happening, I would take a baseball bat to the head of the guy who did it.
See, you know what? And see, this is a point that I wanted to make with that. I'm going to ask you another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
The point I wanted to make with that is, we just had an atheist just come on and say he wouldn't have no problem with it. So
no, that's not what he said. But although he preferred to stick with what are the standards of the culture that he lives in, and certainly the standards of the culture that we live in is that's something that's reprehensible.
Okay, so you're speaking for him.
Well, no, I'm helping to interpret.
Okay. Thank you for your. Even though we all speak in English, but thank you.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. All right. When it comes to homosexuality, what are the rules of atheists concerning that?
Well, there aren't any particular rules, but that has existed in human and in many animal societies since the beginning of time. Morally, I have no problem with it, but
I didn't ask you what existed. In people were killing people since the beginning of time. I'm not.
I agree.
What I'm asking you is, what is the atheist stance on a
generally
man
the atheist stance
man?
Is very libertarian when it comes to homosexuality, which is if that's something that you enjoy and with another adult, that's your business. I don't have to be a homosexual or enjoy that activity to accept that some people do and it's not hurting anybody, and that's fine.
So that's totally accepted with atheists.
It's accepted that it exists, yes. I always say yes, it's accepted. It doesn't mean that most of us are homosexuals or have any interest in that, but it's accepted just like most of us are, one thing and not the other, that it exists. It's not hurting anybody. If it's between consenting adults, there's no issue for me.
Okay. All right. And your friend, that's the same with your friend there?
Yeah, I would generally agree with that. Sure.
Okay. All right. So what is the message of the atheist? What is your message?
Stephen, you want to start?
Sure. Yeah, that as you understand, because you called us, that it is growing. More and more people in the world are willing to say that they are atheists, that they don't have a belief in the particular religion that other people in their country have. So, it's a growing, and it will, continue to grow because it's generally seems to be a result of education, higher education, better economics, better health care, more rights for women. All these things seem to be involved with the increase of people considering themselves to not be believers in countries. So it's a growing movement and will continue to grow.
I say, so that's the message. You live, you die. You don't believe in God. That's it. That's all it is.
You're putting words into his mouth, but
no, I'm just asking you. I'm asking a question. That's it.
Well,
you
and I'd like to answer that. Yes, basically, you live and you die. It's what you make of your life. Everybody wants to live life and be happy, to be with people that they love, and to be surrounded by things that they love, and food that they love, and animals that they love, and just generally enjoy life with everything that has to offer. And there's so many positives and good things about that's what we try to stress.
All right. Let me ask the other brother a question real quick. You with me?
Yes,
Okay. Let's talk about the spirit real quick. When people die, something happens. Can you explain that as an atheist? When people die, what happens?
Yeah, for me and most atheists, our bodies, our lives, our minds, everything is just contained in physical things. So there's for all atheists, there is no such thing as a spirit. So when we die, it's just our body gets put in the ground or cremated or however it's processed, and that's the end of that person. And it's only physical. There's nothing else.
Okay. So what you're saying is your spirit is a physical thing. As far as what's in your mind, it's all physical. There's nothing spirit there.
Correct. What's in the mind? Everything that is composes a person is just physical.
And if I could interject, just on top of that.
Yeah, I knew there would be an interjection.
No. Just you've got two people with different ways of explaining kind of the same idea, but we don't believe. I'll speak for myself.
Let me make it clear though. You atheists need to become uniform to some.
No, we don't actually. That's the difference between us and the other group.
Okay. All right.
As far as I'm concerned, there is no soul in any way that you can define or describe. Our personality is electricity and chemicals that are also attached to our physical body. And when we die, if there is any spirit as you're expressing it, the closest thing I can think of is this, electrical energy in our body that then dissipates because, in essence, the battery is dead and the energy is gone. And if we live on in the memories of those who loved us.
Okay, and what do you think about sodomites?
My friend, that's the second time you've asked that question. You seem to have an issue with that. I do not. I don't think about it.
I have a big issue with it.
Okay. My answer is I don't think about them. And maybe you should spend less time thinking about them as well.
Okay. All right. So here it is. You're saying that the spirit it don't
There
exist.
is no spirit. We're saying there is no spirit.
All right. Okay. All right. So now that we've established, let's get into some technical things according to science now, since you are a person that deals with science.
I'm not personally. Stephen is much more than I am. But
Stephen, let me speak to Stephen real quick. You there, Stephen?
Yes,
Okay, thank you, Stephen. How was the Earth created? Or how did it come to be?
Yeah, actually, we do understand that very, very, very well. You can get to a question that I can't answer at all, but that one actually is very straightforward.
Great, thank you.
When a star was formed and created, the parts of the star actually produced all the materials that the Earth was composed of. It was about approximately 10 billion years ago. The Earth was formed, and it took billions of years that it went from gases to becoming solid to becoming the Earth we know with water and eventually life. So scientists actually do understand how the Earth was formed very, very well, actually.
Okay. All right. Real quick. 1 moment here. I'm glad you answered that, because now we're going to follow up on that. We're going to follow up on that. Okay, I just want to write down and make sure I'm hearing everything you're saying. You said that a star was formed and everything came out of that star.
Yes, correct.
Correct?
Yes,
All right. All right. So, and you said that happened, what, how many billion years ago?
Yeah, I'd have to look it up, but approximate, let's say 10 billion.
10 billion? Okay. You sure? 9? Sure? 9, 8?
Somewhere around there.
All right. Somewhere around between, give or take a billion? Okay.
Yeah, somewhere in that ballpark.
Let's deal with this star was formed. Mm-hmm. Now, we know that science is the proof or the realism of what can be proven with what you can see, touch, or evidence. So,
I don't know, Steve. Do you agree? Do you agree with that definition?
Well, actually, scientists now. There was a time
when I got a question.
Well, you made a statement that we don't necessarily
because you're about to take it. You know where I'm going here. That's why you try to.
No, we don't. It's not important. You made a statement that we don't agree with.
Okay, listen. We don't go there. You said a star was formed. We're going to deal with this star real quick.
You didn't ask. You just asked him how the Earth was formed.
Okay.
And he said it came out of a star.
Okay, we're going to deal with this star real quick.
Okay.
Who made that statement that the star was formed?
You did.
I did.
Well, no, Stephen did. The star was formed about 10 billion years. Yeah.
Okay, I'm speaking to you, Stephen. Don't throw the ball don't throw the ball to another place. We're going to deal with this star with you and I real quick. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. How do you know a star was formed?
Oh, it's actually very well understood by people who do it. I'm not that kind of scientist. I know a lot about science, but I'm not the astrophysicists and the cosmologists are the ones that study this, and they actually can very clearly track what happened with stellar material in our solar system, and they actually can tell you exactly, this is when it happened. This is when the gas is starting to form for our sun, the sun that we see up there in the sky. They can tell you exactly when it happened. It's very complicated for us, but it's actually clearly understood by people that do that kind of thing. I'm not one of those kind of scientists, so I'm not an expert at it, but they can actually tell you very clearly how the sun formed and how the planets, there are 9 or so planets circling around the sun. They can tell you how they formed. They can tell you when, the exact date that they formed. They can tell you what they're composed of, whether there's any water, how much hydrogen is on each planet in this solar system. It's very. So far, the questions you're asking have very clear answers. They're not mysteries. There's no magic to them. There's nothing.
Well, you didn't answer the question. I'm asking you about the star was formed. I'm asking you, how do you know it was formed? That's what I asked you.
I am taking it on from the experts who are expert, and I've reviewed some of the information. So I'm not just blindly accepting experts. I actually understand enough to understand some of it.
What proof did they give you this star was formed?
There are a library full of evidence. And in science now, it's not called proof. That's what Joel was trying to express before. Scientists now don't say they prove things. A scientist never proves anything. They offer evidence which makes things the most likely solution.
What evidence have you seen that this star was formed?
I've seen lots of evidence. I've seen.
Okay, give me one shred of this evidence.
I've seen the information from studies about the spectral analysis of the elements which compose the sun and compose this Earth. By looking at these spectral remains of these things, we can draw conclusions, hypotheses about what happened. It's the same reason we know evolution is true.
Okay, what book did you read?
I've read several. I have
Give me one book. Give me one book you read that tells us about this star that was formed.
There are many books.
I want one. Just give me one.
There's a book called The Origin of the Earth.
Hold up. Listen, I only need one. Don't run them off. I just need one. What is that one?
Let me give you something you can actually get. There's something called Origin. No, that's not a good one. Let's see.
Not a good one?
Something you can get.
Okay.
Oh yeah, here's good something in the Scientific American from 2010. It's called Luminary Lineage. Did an ancient supernova?
One moment. I just need the title. You and I got to go into no dissertation on it. I just need the title of it.
Yeah, I'm giving you. It's a long title, but just give me the title.
Okay, what is it?
Luminary Lineage. Luminary is Luminary. Luminary.
I have luminary. I know how to spell it. Luminary what?
Lineage, like our family lineage.
Okay, go ahead. Luminary lineage. Go ahead.
The rest of the title is, Did an Ancient Supernova Trigger the Solar System's Birth? And that's in Scientific American.
Is that a question in that title?
Yes, correct. That's a question.
Okay, what is that question?
It's scientists kind of trying to figure out the best answer.
I'm asking you to give it to me so I can write it down. What is that question in the title of that book?
Did an ancient supernova trigger the solar system's birth?
Okay, one moment. This is something. I mean, this is something else. One moment. Okay. Did an ancient supernova do what?
Trigger the solar system's birth.
Trigger the solar system's birth. Hold on. And who's the author of this book?
The author is John Matson, Matson.
Okay. Let's just stay here real quick. I ask you, how was the earth made or created? You said you can actually answer that. You said
yes.
You said everything came out of a star that was formed.
Yes.
And then I asked you what type of proof you have this star was formed.
Yes.
And you gave me a book of luminary lineage. Did an ancient supernova trigger the solar system, which was a question, by John Matson. So,
yes.
Let me ask you this. Isn't being an atheist, based on what you just told me, a belief system in itself? Like, and I'm going to parallel it. I believe that about 13,000 years ago, that the Most High God created heaven and earth and light. And this star could have happened that he created that formed everything we see. I also believe that it's written of in a book, except the book don't have a question on whether or not it happened. And I also believe the prophets that wrote the book, the same way you believe this John Matson theory is correct, because you wasn't there either. So my question to you is, don't you have to have some form of a belief to feel that this actually happened the way they said it happened? Because you wasn't there, and you don't have proof that you can give me right now that you can state that would definitively tell us that this actually happened. And if you do have that information, that you can prove this star was formed 10 billion years ago. Right now, if you do that, if you can prove to me right now that a star was formed 10 billion years ago, I will put down the Bible right now, and I will be an atheist as of this moment. That's when it's proven. Because really, what atheists have to believe this happened, which makes being an atheist a religion.
I'm an atheist. I don't need to believe it. You're trying to. Okay.
You don't.
I
know
don't have to believe that the Earth was created 10 billion years ago.
But you
I don't have
know
to.
it.
I don't know, but I don't care. What difference does it make? When I look up at the sky, there's my proof that a star was formed.
Well, listen,
and if I look at it too long, I know
Yeah.
from scientific method, which is thousands of years of human beings testing, retesting, challenging, and testing again, that if I stare at that sun for too long, I'll go blind. I don't need faith to tell me that if I stare at that sun, I'll go blind. Scientific method has taught, because that's what we're talking about when we talk about science, that if you repeat the same thing over and over again and you keep testing it and you try to test it in different ways and challenge it, but you get the same result all the time, then it must be true. And that is a truth, that if you stare at that sun, that star, that you're saying you think you know how it was created, and I'm saying I don't know, I don't care, I'm sure it's been there a long time. If I stare at it long enough, I'll go blind. It's not faith. It's a scientific method. That's the closest thing that you can have to the word proof.
Okay.
I don't understand why believing that that star was created 13,000 years ago or 13 billion years ago is going for you to decide whether or not you're a Christian and you believe in a God and or Jesus Christ or the Holy Ghost or any of the multitude of lessons and morals in the book, many of which are contradictory to each other. That's your business if you want to believe that, but that shouldn't have anything to do with whether you believe the sun was created 13,000 or 10 billion years ago.
Okay. Well, you don't care about anything.
No, do not put that out there. I
Listen,
care about more things than we can ever talk about.
Brother,
but I don't care about how old the sun or the earth is.
Okay. Are you in two separate places?
Of course we are.
Okay. I would like to speak to the other guy, if you don't mind.
Of course you would. Have a good day.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Hello?
Yeah,
Hold on.
thank you for holding on.
Hold on. Did Joe just hang up?
Steven's here.
Okay. But did Joe just hang up just then?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's great. It's good he's gone. All right? Because you know what? And this is what they do when they can't act. See, this is what they usually do to so-called Christians. You understand? Because Christians are not in a place, and I would say knowledge-wise, to actually deal with these guys, because they definitely just listen to their preachers and don't even read the Bible and understand it on a level to refute this. This is why atheists are growing. They're growing because no one is actually posing to them the same questions they've been posing to Christians. And that's the point I wanted to make. The fact that they believe that the earth was somehow came from a supernova or a star 10 billion years ago with no definitive proof at all. So if they believe that and is spreading that, and here's the weird thing about this. You know, the people that are pushing atheist teaching through these colleges, through evolution and all that, all Jews, all Jewish. All these colleges are set up, and even the guy he mentioned, these are Jewish people. How is it that the Jews, whose very existence is from the Bible, and even them getting the homeland over in Israel, they use the Bible to claim that they were reclaiming the homeland. Why would they set up institutions to discredit their very existence? And the reason why, because they're not the Jews. They're Romans. They're philosophers. They're atheists. The Bible tells us a fool in his heart say there is no God. Okay? I'm more inclined to believe in the power that created the star than to give the star any credence. Second thing, The book he mentioned, Luminary Lineage. A luminary is a star. A luminary is an angel, according to scriptures. There was luminaries that came down and taught mankind science. Okay? This knowledge didn't just organically happen in the earth that we have today. The power to create. There's a mastermind. Even life itself tells you that there's a mastermind. We are connected through an external source. We're connected. Now, there's a few things I'm going to prove. But I want this guy to stick with me for one moment. Because I don't think that people become atheists because they believe that I don't think they become atheists because they don't believe there's a God. Okay? That's a slippery slope they slip down into. I believe that people become atheists because religion does not answer their questions. Because religion was not set up to answer their questions. Religion was set up to control the people. All right? So, of course the guy got frustrated because he's used to bullying Christians.
Do you have any?
We're going to let you in. We're going to let you in. There's a few things we're going to let you in with. The first thing we're going to let you in with is you're going to prove to us that a star was formed 10 billion years ago. All right? And once you prove this to me right now, my word, and there's thousands of people listening as we speak, my word is if you can prove to me a star was formed 10 billion years ago right now, as an atheist, I will renounce my full belief and I will never read the Bible again. I'm waiting.
Well, I definitely cannot prove to you anything about stars. It's pretty similar to what Joel said. Is I believe I trust things around me today, and I don't have to have faith in it. Like car, I have an automobile. I have a car. When I put the key in the ignition and turn the ignition, the car will start. There's no faith involved. There's no gods involved. There's no religion involved. It's not a belief. It's just, science. It's just knowing what works. When I turn the electricity on, the light will go on. It's not faith. It's not belief. It just is what works. So, that's what science is. Science is what works, what we see that works in the world. And for the same reasons, we know how stars were born and how the earth was born and how human beings evolved from creatures over thousands and thousands of years. We know all those things the same way we know a car works, an electric light works, a generating plant generates the electricity. We know how all those things work because of science. But for me to convince you that the sun developed a certain way and the earth developed a certain way, we would have to sit down with books and math books and physics books and science books for a long time. It's not something I could do on the radio in a few minutes. It would take a long time for you to be convinced of that if you stuck with the studying. It's just like how a person becomes a theologian. They have to go to university for a while to study the Bible and study the other books about religion. So it's not something that can happen that quickly.
Okay, so it's clear that, let's make this clear. There is no proof that the star was formed. There is no proof. Okay,
there
all right.
Proof. I just can't give it to you in a few minutes.
Okay, all right.
It's a library. It's an entire library worth of information. It would take too much time to give it to you.
You explained that, so I'm going to get off that for a second. How do you know it wasn't 6 billion years ago?
Yeah, actually, I was wrong. I think it was probably more like 4 billion. I think I said a totally wrong number. So, okay. It was billions of years ago.
Billions. How do you know it wasn't 3 billion?
There's scientific evidence which makes it the most believable thing, makes it the most probable, most statistically likely outcome. Just the reason a car engine works, the reason a battery works, the reason the internet radio stations work. There is scientific understanding of how they work. And, you can't take somebody and explain it to them in a second how the science behind the internet works and how the servers work and how Unix and the operating systems are involved. But it really exists. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist just because you can't explain it in a minute. The internet exists, but it's hard to explain.
Okay. Let's get straight to the point here. Could a computer work, or could this internet work without a mind to create it? I'm asking you that. That's a yes or no. That means, can a computer build itself to the point where we're on the internet right now?
Well, in one sense, yes. Human beings have a mind that's like a computer, and that was not built by anyone other than nature.
I don't think you can't answer a straight question, can you? I'm asking you, can a computer...
Yes. The answer is yes. A computer...
Sir, can a computer build itself? Can a hard drive jump into a computer and make itself?
Yes. A human brain is like a computer. A human brain is a computer. It built itself.
Listen, brother. Right now we're on a physical... You paralleled creation to things that are created. A computer is made by people. There was a brain that was behind building a computer or making the internet. So what I'm asking you is it possible that there was a brain, a mind beyond creating the universe, as is the same level of science you say to create a computer or a light or a car? That's what I'm asking.
No.
Is that possible? I'm asking you, listen, I don't ask you do you believe it. Do you think that it's possible?
Well, just about anything is possible.
Okay, well, we're getting somewhere. Now, in the Bible, it says a fool has said in his heart that there is no God. Corrupt are they, and have done abominable iniquity. There's none that doeth good. And see, there's this old satanic saying. Matter of fact, there's a few people that have brought it forth in our modern society, like Albert Pike, a Jewish Satanist. Also, Aleister Crowley, a Jewish Satanist, who coined a phrase that Jay-Z used today: do as thou wilt. By claiming it's no God, there's no judgment, and thereby you become corrupt. Why? Because you don't believe there's any judgment after your spirit leaves. You do what you will in the earth. Okay? That's reprobate. There is a God. You are the proof that there is a God. Your existence is the proof. The Most High God created what you call science. He's the master of all creation. And it didn't happen 10 billion years ago. One other thing I wanted to bring out, and I know you don't believe the Bible, but I'm going to read it. And see, we don't believe the fables of Christianity and the control of religion. We can read the Bible and get its spiritual content and its relevancy to this earth and to our being without religious control. 1 Timothy 6:20 tells us, keep that which is to thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings and oppositions of science, falsely so called. It says we are to refrain from the babbling that comes from science because it's never ending and it never proves anything. The whole point of atheist teachings in science is to actually rival the Creator or to say that the Bible or God don't exist. That's the whole argument of being an atheist. They're there just to prove that there is no God. When really, think about this as being an atheist. By you trying to prove there's a God, that proves there's a God. Because you're actually bringing it into existence by trying to disprove it. You can't disprove something that don't exist, right? So, all I'm saying to you, brother, is open your mind, stay away from the philosophy, be admonished to make it of many books there is no end, and much study is a weariness of the flesh. Hear the conclusion of the whole matter, like Ecclesiastes 12 and 13 tells us. Fear the Most High God and keep His commandments, which is the whole duty of man. We're here for order. That's what we're here for. We're not here to do what we want to do. Because eventually, we meet the one who sent us. Okay? Science right now cannot explain when the spirit enters the womb. Right now, people can't explain where the spirit comes from. When a man and woman comes together and reprocreate. They don't know the existence of when a spirit, a mind, come into the child. Science can't explain it. But the Most High can. The Bible can. So, brother, really, when speaking to you all, because this is the first time I've actually spoken to atheists, when I listen to atheists, it strengthens the understanding of a God even more for us.
Hold on, 1 minute.
Yes.
Just want to make a quick announcement to everyone. We got 5 minutes left of the live show. After 5 minutes, you will be disconnected if you have not called in. 646-200-4309. That is 646-200-4309. We have less than 5 minutes to go before we go over into the overtime. All right.
Well, can we keep them in the overtime? Because I got to pull up Ustream for those so that people don't miss out for the rest of the show.
I'm going to have to go. I'll probably have to go in about 5 minutes.
Okay, well, that's good. Then I'll let you have your time here. Let you have your say.
Thank you. Well, I really appreciate being invited on. I consider myself a guest in your house, so I appreciate that you invited me in and gave me the opportunity to say my piece. I am a strong atheist and have been an atheist for many, many years. I grew up in California and was raised as a Christian, so I certainly have read a lot of the Bible and have studied certain things from the Bible. But I've been a long-time atheist and strong in the atheist movement, and it's really enlightening to be able to think about things in a different way, to be able to look at things in new ways and kind of see the world through new eyes. So I've really appreciated being an atheist and the things I've seen and learned.
Brother Stephen, what I'm going to ask you, right, if it's possible, I've got the callers jammed up right now. I think they want to pose some questions. Can you take an extra 5-10 minutes or to take some calls?
Maybe 5 minutes, sure.
Okay, all right. What we're going to do, we're just going to open the call lines and take a few callers, being that Stephen here only has, 5 or so minutes before he has to go. All right, I'm going to bring in, for the first caller here is Brother Kamar with a question. And Brother Kamar, can you keep it to 30 seconds or so?
Shalom. Shalom, brother. Shalom, brother Ricard. Shalom, brother Gocc.
Shalom.
My question is for Mr. Stephen. How you doing today, Mr. Stephen?
Oh, very good. Thank you.
Okay, my question is, we all once was young. Growing up, when you went to school and you were being taught by the teachers, is it safe to say that, in a way, being taught by the teacher, you had to believe what the teacher was teaching you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a certain degree of having to believe in what the teachers were saying. I mean, some teachers encourage some thinking on your own too, but yeah, there is some belief involved. Yes.
Okay. So is it safe to say that growing up as a Christian, that it's safe to say that you are only believing what the pastor is teaching you?
I think many Christians, yeah, I think that might be true of many Christians.
Now, for me, I want to ask you this. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, my question is now, being that most Christians only believe what their pastor says and read the Bible from, when they do read the Bible, from the standpoint of what they're being taught, would you think they really are not giving themselves a chance to learn what's really in the Scripture as opposed to what they're being taught?
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. Yeah, they need to learn for themselves. I think I agree with what you said.
Okay, now this is the last question. Now, when we grow up and become men and start to learn on our own, isn't it safe to say that once you become an adult, you can open the book and find out on your own what's really in the book as opposed to try to disapprove the book from what a pastor taught you?
Okay, Brother Kumar. Brother Kumar, I'm going to move to the next caller right now while Stephen answers that question, okay?
Okay, go ahead.
Well, thank you. Just hit one for me when you hear mute, okay? And let me bring in Elder Gabar. He has a question also. Stephen, go ahead and answer if you can.
Yeah, I think that made a lot of sense, what he said. I think people should open it up and read it themselves and learn themselves what it says. Although I'm not a Christian, and I'm not encouraging people to be Christians.
Okay. Brother Gocc, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. Stephen, thanks for coming to the show. One question. Did you ever seen there was a documentary, I think it was behind a book called No Intelligence Allowed?
I think I have seen it.
Okay. And let me just give you a quick brief on why I logically became a follower of the Scriptures. When I was a kid, I loved science. And I understand the science. We are limited by the information that we have within the science realm. By evidence, archaeology, scientific studies, 2 + 2 = 4. Okay, we come to that conclusion, and also so therefore, and I use the word limited because as we evolve as human beings, we now have iPhones that maybe 3,000 years ago, an iPhone would be considered, to ancient men, science. Magic. But it's science. So we are evolving. So things that we know today, the ancient man did not know, a few years back, even maybe going back to 100 years. So is it safe to say, and given to the whole concept, and I have studied the whole evolution theory, and the reason why it's called the evolution theory, the Big Bang theory, is because it is a theory. It hasn't been proven. It's a pretty good theory to some. Some people believe it. That's what happened. So, but if something that is a theory, it cannot be presented as scientific fact. And all I'm saying is that can you open up your mind that perhaps that there was a creator from a scientific perspective? And the problem I guess I'm having with the scientific or community or the atheist community is that if you say you rejected religion because it cannot be proven or there's no evidence that God exists according to your understanding. And the evolution theory has evolved several times. that could show you document that evolutionists believe one thing, 50 years ago, and now they believe something else. And, the Earth was getting, at one point they would throw us 1 billion years, now it's 1 billion years. So through science, you evolved your understanding. If you come across understanding or evidence that shows that we are a product of a creator, will you reject it automatically? Or will you say, okay, let's look into that?
Well, I think you have a good point in that people who follow science, believe like me, just believe science, cannot have certainty and a certain answer. They, as you say, things have changed. Evolution theories have changed. Things change, and that is the way science is, and it's the way science will always be. So if someone needs certainty, if they need to be able to say, I believe this one thing now and forever, then science is not the way to go. And someone maybe needs to believe in religion.
Did you saw the documentary No Intelligence Allow, I believe?
I think I did. Yeah, I think I did see that.
Do you think that's a fair thing to what happened to those teachers getting fired when they started looking at science and saying, wait a minute, scientifically there is some evidence to the belief that we are a product of creation? Do you think that was fair? And do you think that is progress with science, or is hindering science?
Well, I believe I'm a supporter of evolution, and so I'm in favor of.
What I'm saying. I'm not talking about evolution. I'm talking about science. It's science. Science.
Yeah, I'm a supporter of science.
Science is raw. Science is whatever. Is no. There's no feelings involved with science. 2 + 2 = 4. That's science. Whatever the chips before. What I'm saying is, do you believe, regardless whether you're come from the school of I believe we are a product of evolution, but do you believe that we should stop other scientists which stumble into scientific evidence, which they believe that we are a product of a creator? Now, it doesn't have to be the God of the Bible. It could be, there's other theories out there, like the creation of aliens or something from out of galaxy beings created us. There's other theories. But what I'm saying is, should we not all theories should be put at the table? Well, my question, do you think it's fair, regardless whether you believe evolution is the truth? From a scientific perspective.
It wasn't my decision. I wasn't a judge or jury there.
No, I'm saying do you think it's fair? I'm not saying whether you're to blame.
The world is not fair. Unfortunately, the world is not fair. Things happen, and I didn't have anything to do with it. I don't really.
I didn't ask you the question. What I'm saying is, you think it's fair scientifically? If you have a guy,
the world is not fair. I'm sorry. The world is not fair. There's things that happen in this world. There's things happen every day that I don't agree with. I'm going to have to leave in about a minute. Is there anything else we should do before I leave?
There's just a simple question. Do you think it's fair? Do you, Stephen, do you think that was fair? That's all I'm asking.
The world's not fair. I'm sorry. I can't change the world for you. I'm sorry.
I'm not asking to change it. I'm just asking your opinion. Stephen, do you think that was fair? That's it. It's a simple question.
It's not. The world's not fair. I'm sorry. I can't make the world fair for you. The world.
That's not the question. I'm not asking you. I'm not asking to make the world safe for me. I'm asking your opinion on your assessment as a scientific person that believes science and loves science, and I love science too. Do you think that was fair, that what happened to those teachers? That's all I'm asking you.
I have nothing to do with it. I don't need to apologize for anything that happened.
I'm not asking you to apologize for them. I'm just asking you, do you think it's fair? That's all I'm asking you.
The world's not fair. I'm sorry. The world's not fair.
We know that already.
You need to accept that the world's not fair, brother.
It's well noted that the world's not fair. You repeated that 3 times.
Horrible things happen in the world.
Okay, so you believe that was a horrible thing?
I think there's horrible things that happen every day. I hate some of the things that go on, but I can't change all of them. I can only work in my life
I'm not asking to do that. I'm not asking to do that. I just wanted to make note of that it was not fair from a scientific perspective. We were not there either 30,000 years ago or 100 million years ago. So therefore, we should embrace every aspect of science. Yeah, Aldo.
Good boy. Let me just ask him something because I know we got 1 minute to go.
Yeah.
His name's Joel, right?
The other guy?
No, the brother that's here, Stephen.
My name's Stephen.
Yes, Stephen. There's scientific proof of sulfur in the area of the ancient Sodom and Gomorrah, that it was like an oven in that area during the same time, and they did that through also use carbon dating also with the science of today to prove that Sodom and Gomorrah really happened. The fire came down, burned the whole area, and till this day you can travel there and break the sulfur off of the side of the rocks. It's so thick. Now that's science proving the Bible correct. But yet the scientist over in the United States suppresses the information. Also, some of the relics that was found in Solomon's temple that was carried off by Queen of Sheba, that's been tested as some of the stuff that she actually received from Solomon, and relates directly to back to the dates of Solomon, scientifically. You understand? So there's so many things that can be proven, but I think that there's an orchestrated effort to suppress any scientific proof concerning the Bible, which leads us to believe that those that are over the atheist movement are Satanists.
Well, for one thing, I don't think atheists are as powerful as you think we are. I think there's only a few of us, and we're not running governments and everything.
Well, you're not powerful at all. You're used as an arm of the Satanist regime. You're just one of the many factions that are utilized to stir up unbelief throughout the population. You're just another weapon of Satan.
Well, let me just agree with you before I go. I think that there are many historical truths in the Christian Bible. I think that many of the stories were passed down by wandering Israelites and put into the Old Testament of the Bible. So I think many of those events actually happened in history. People used to think the story of the Homer's Iliad about the Trojan War was fantasy, was just stories, but really years later they were found out to actually have been true. There actually was a Troy and a Trojan War, but people didn't know that. People are infallible. People are not perfect, and so I think that that people's understanding changes. So I think there are some historical truths that are in the Bible. That's the last thing I'll say about that.
Okay. Well, just scratching the surface. I think we're scratching the surface. I think that what you need to leave with is that before America, before the Western world came and destroyed true history, you didn't need science to prove anything. The people knew. So the fact remains that, well, the place that you probably need to look into is the fact that why would they destroy history to the point where you need science to try to figure out what happened? That's where you need to begin.
Thanks for having me on. I enjoyed being your guest.
Okay, thank you, brother. You have a pleasant evening.
Thank you. You too. Goodbye.
Say hi. Say hello to your buddy for me.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Okay.
With Azariah.
Azariah got kicked off. Elder Gabar, could you pull him in for me, please?
Pull him in through, drag him through Skype?
Yeah, through Skype. Yeah, he got cut off this morning.
Okay. Azariah.
Somebody please tell me that we could have found some better atheists than this. This is what atheist is? Man, I thought that someone was coming with some understanding that would at least have you, that would at least have you, contemplating whether or not they're dealing with any level of intellect whatsoever. I mean, and I think that it threw them off guard, because usually when they come into the room, they like to throw philosophical terms out there in folly and make serious attempts to call the Bible a fairy tale and Christ a fairy tale. They like to come from that angle so that you don't even address really what they believe. I mean, it's total idiocy on every level. I'm listening to these guys. None of them can answer a straight question. They don't even know the origin of where the atheists come from. And I was going to pour that out for them, too. That came from Greece. That came from the ancient Greeks. So the point about that is, if the Greeks came up with the term atheist, or the belief in no God, then what were the people believing before they created atheism? All people believed there was a God. And those people that believed there was a God predated the Greeks. So therefore, atheist is a religion that was created, and they formed it, they cloaked it as science so that it can be taught mainstream with no opposition in the schools of the atheists the Satanists created. They didn't want opposition. They wanted to be able to use their religion in institutions with our children to create a system of unbelief. Next, I asked him, are you saying there is no God? Now, you notice the other guy wanted to interject because Stephen was a little bit more what you would call open. If it can be proven to some degree, if it's rational, okay. So the guy wanted to interject because Stephen was being honest with what he believed. And he was exposed. Let me tell you, the whole atheist teaching was getting exposed, and the other guy couldn't take it.
Yeah.
We asked him, Gocc, who created the universe, and he came with a Star Wars form 10 billion years ago. And then by the time we got off the phone, he was down to 4 billion. And it's
but you know what though? You know what?
Yeah.
When you ask him where did you get that from, just give him the proof, and he said a book, right? If you know, at that time, Joel, he realized where it was going.
He knew where it was going.
Yeah, he knew exactly where it was going now. So this is why he kept jumping in. So I was here with my mic muted, man, but I was rolling over, man. It was hilarious for me just listening to it. You understand me? Because like you said,
yeah,
these guys used to coming in and nobody asking them about what you believe in. You understand me? But they can tear down everything. But when you there's a time when he came in at the beginning. I don't know if you remember when he said, "Well, I don't believe anything," and then in the end, you have to almost stop himself from saying the word believe.
Yeah.
kept coming up. Well, I believe. Well. I know. I think I know. Well, I believe.
Yeah.
It was funny, man. I need to go back and listen over the show because I was in the midst of that as well. I was working the switchboard as well. Brother Azariah is having some connecting problems, so I missed a little bit of it then, and we just lost El Gabar before as well because of I think he tried to pull Brother Azariah in. So we're gonna have to get him maybe after the show. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I said it's amazing. It's amazing that all the books he's talking about, that the plethora of books that exist, He didn't know the difference between 10 billion and 4 billion. And, there is no difference. What's a billion years? If that's not utter confusion and madness, you understand? How can you prove something was here? Let me tell you, it takes a deeper belief system to believe something happened 10 billion years ago, opposed to something happened 13,000 years ago.
Yep.
So, it's incredible. And you know what? That last guy that was on, he know there's a God. You can tell.
Uh-huh.
The other guy was bent out of shape. He really became bent out of shape because he knew I was asking him questions he couldn't answer. But yet, and the reason I did this is because every time these guys deal with Christians, that's what they do. They point to parts of the Christian belief that they know Christians can't answer. And it's not that there's no God, it's that the Christian doctrine is incorrect. So I'm going to give you an example. I went and seen one of the videos out there where one was speaking to an atheist, and he said, "So you mean to tell me Christ is God?" And the Christian was like, "Yeah, Christ is God." Okay. So who was Christ praying to in the garden? The atheists feed on stuff like that. You understand? And it makes Christians look dumb because Christ is not God. And then it makes it seem as if atheists know the Bible better than Christians. All right? And I've seen, let me tell you, these Christians are getting manhandled by these atheists. And yes, the atheist belief is growing. Why? Because there is no educational teachings of the Bible. People are not learning the Bible on a scholastic level and applying it to themselves. The movement has turned into a prosperity movement where the majority, go to church and look. Everyone's just sitting there listening to this guy entertain them. No one has the book open. No one is actually referencing whether or not what he's saying is in Scripture. And then you have women up there with their nonsense trying to become pastors and preachers now, dealing with their philosophy. No scriptures are coming out. And this is a purpose dumbing down of Christ's people, of those that believe in the scriptures. And the Christians don't even have the fuel to fight against these atheists, because the atheists sound smart until you get them in a different form, like tonight. I had these questions. This guy went into a flower and how great a flower is and the science of a flower. Listen, the Most High created the flowers. All right? That's who I'm listening to this guy, and I'm like, everything that he claimed that he gives credit to science for was the Most High. I think the brother will be all right. He'll be okay. So, do you want to answer? Want to open up some calls? I'm sure some people want to say something within this last hour offline.
But yeah, we can take some calls though, if you'd like, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you that. Hey, I don't think. I think I want Sandy to put this up. I don't think atheists will come on another one of these shows after this is put up on YouTube. We definitely got to put this up on YouTube. The Gathering of Christ Church grilling atheists.
Yeah, this needs to go up by tomorrow at least, you know.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I'm like, where's all the so-called intellect they be coming with? I was waiting for it. I'm like, they must be able to prove something. No. Their whole religion is to try to disprove the Bible. I've never seen an atheist focus on taking down Muslims. I've never seen an atheist focus on taking down Buddhists. They always focus on the Bible and Christ. Why? Because they're an arm of Antichrist. Why do you have so much focus on the Bible? There's many religions out there. Why do you focus on trying to show whether or not Christ existed? Or how he was born, or whether or not the prophets? This guy would rather me. What's this demon name of the author of this book he gave us? He'd rather us believe the theories of this demon John Madsen than the prophets. Are you kidding me? I'm like, so I knew exactly where I was going with this. That's why I had the questions lined up accordingly to trap them, so that when they go into the creation, I can ask, okay, well, where did you get this information from about this supernova star, right? Then he says, well, there's a book called The Luminary Lineage, and in the title, it's a question mark. Did an ancient supernova trigger the solar system? Oh, a book, huh? But the first thing they'll tell a Christian is, or someone that believes in the Bible, I don't follow things written out of a book. Right? And I'm like, yeah, so who's the author of this particular book, sir? Oh, Jewish guy named John Madsen. Oh, okay. So I'm to ignore the prophets and give John Madsen authority over the prophets? Are you kidding me? This John Madsen is a synagogue of Satan. He's a demon, Satan's son, writing books on evolution. Why would he write a book on evolution? Wouldn't that disprove that he's a Jew?
Yeah, you're right. So it does.
Yeah.
It does.
If they, that tells you they're not a Jew. They're discrediting their so-called very existence. And you know what? They don't care if people know they're not Jews now. They just needed to pull the wool over the people's eyes long enough to grab all the resources and build a military that could destroy anyone that can come against them. They don't care if you know. Listen, they're Romans. They don't care if you know whether or not they're Jews now. They care less.
You remember at the beginning of the conversation when he said what God? There are many gods. So, well, I thought you don't believe in God. So how are you telling me now that there are many gods? You understand me? Did you catch it at the top?
Exactly. And see, he wanted to interrupt. I'm like, I'm not going for that today. Okay? This is not that type of thing this evening. I don't have no. Now for Pastor Manning, I have all patience and respect and honor for that brother because, you know, he have worked, and on top of that, he understands how to conduct himself in a verbal exchange. Not these characters. Let me tell you, these characters jump more than Christians.
Let's let some callers in and get some feedback here of what's going on in the call queue. I see we lost a lot of callers when we went into the overtime, but there's still calls coming in. All right, I'm gonna get the first one here at the top of the list. Daniel with a question and a comment.
Yeah, shalom, brothers and elders.
Shalom.
Yeah, I think it was a beautiful show tonight, you know, and those set of questions that you chose were very appropriate. You just literally exposed everything. You just kept jumping around from not believing to believing, you know, in a matter of seconds. So yeah, I think if you could use that same line, you know, and prepare a set of questions in advance for them, so that each time they come around, you just bring out those questions for them, and if they're not able to, then they will always go away just like they do. So yeah, I think it's a good show, and well done.
All praises be to the Most High, higher, and He stands. It's His power. It's the Most High's power.
Absolutely.
You understand? We just have to tear down all these vices, all these ideologies that opposes itself against the word and power of the Most High. Tearing down strongholds. And that's what we're doing, because these It's guys like this who prey on the ignorant.
True. Very
you understand? True. And it's not that our people are not smart. Our people are smart, but they've set up a system in which our people are not exposed to proper education. I'm talking about spiritual education, and we're taught to learn from those who have always oppressed us. You understand?
Yeah. I mean, one of the questions I really wanted to ask him, was if he had a book that has been, that has been properly explained through scriptures, that also explains our history before, and the history of the world itself, before, present, and future. Why wouldn't he accept that as an evidence, even though that can be explained through archaeology as well?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So I was thinking, this atheism had some sort of, doctrine or belief, but it's just confusion, basically. I don't see it as any religion even. I see it as a pure confusion.
Well, it has a meaning only if they're bringing it to the unlearned.
True.
See, when you're dealing with a blank canvas, you just need to sound intellectual. You just need to sound smart when you're bringing it to a blank canvas. The majority of our people are struggling. We're coming out. We've been vaccine damaged. We've been hurt. We've been miseducated. So it's easy for these atheists to bring different views. See, when we were a people in Israel, when we were a people, a strong people as one, we could see demons like that coming a mile away. Like, you got 5 minutes to get up out of this town, buddy. Okay, because we know there's a God, all right?
Absolutely.
He's the one that destroyed the Egyptians. So you get up out of here, or you're going to see, or you're going to come up missing. That's the way we dealt with things. But now, they done made a society in which Satanists can operate freely in society.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
You see, they're not atheists. The only they are Satanists. That's what they are. And that's why I brought certain questions like moral questions. Like what about bestiality? The other guy came in, wanted to interrupt the guy, but the guy was telling it like it is. Listen, you can do whatever you want to do.
Absolutely. And then he was trying to put a word in the other chap's mouth by saying, no, that's not what he actually means. When the guy asked it clearly that he doesn't have a problem, with that in his society. Yeah. I mean, it's just madness. So yeah.
That guy was spoiling the whole atheist zone. He did see that guy was. I mean, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can properly say this, but he was almost an honest atheist.
Yeah. He was. The other one needed to interrupt. Yeah, man. Brother Daniel, thank you for your comment. Just push the one for me, please.
Another thing I wanted to correct, and I know Lex is in here. I know Lex be bringing out Ashkenazi. He say that more than once with the sons of Japheth when he come on the radio show. But let's make this clear. Jewish people are not Ashkenazi, okay? They took the land after Alexander the Greek. They took the Ashkenazi land and took that term. They weren't originally the sons of Japheth. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to correct that because we got a lot of brothers out there that are teaching that the Jewish people are Japheth through Ashkenazi. Mm-hmm. That's not the case. The same way they took America, and next thing you know, at every powwow, you got them running around with paint on their face and a chief hat on.
Elder, but if a Jewish person says that they are Ashkenazi, right? Wouldn't that just compound the fact even more that you can no way be Ashkenazi and the seed of Shem at the same time?
That is proof on that side when it comes to bloodline.
Yeah.
But when you're teaching people, especially someone that's fairly new, like a Pastor Manning,
right?
he can go into that knowledge, and it'll still take him down a rabbit trail, the wrong trail.
Right.
So I don't want to prove we're Jews at the expense of lies.
Right.
Because they want you to just go around and try to figure out who they are instead of pointing out that they're Edomites. They don't care what you call them, as long as you don't call them Edomites and Romans.
Okay, I think we lost Brother Lex as well. He wanted to come back in before.
Okay, well, I think I see him here. I think he's in our broadcast as far as
okay.
Ustream, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. All right, well, let's take the next caller. Brother Daniel, could you get one for me, please? And that will put you back in the queue. And let's take Brother Jermaine with a question. Shalom, brother.
Shalom, brother Gocc, Elder Carl. Shalom.
One sec, bro. Just before you start, just to remind everyone, we only have about 25 minutes to go before we get cut off here. So if you can keep your questions, to a minimum 2 minutes, so we can get everyone in. All right. Go ahead, brother.
Okay. Okay, no problem. I'll talk real fast. I just want to say to the elder, the book that brother gave you, you can trash that because I'm a science major, and I'm saying no one has ever seen a star created. No one has ever. They have seen them explode, but no one has ever seen a star created. And I want to give y'all at least 5 points that you can prove, like that their beliefs are in fact religious. The first one we go with cosmic evolution, the origin of the Big Bang, chemical evolution, the origin of higher elements from hydrogen, and stellar and planetary evolution, origin of stars and planets, and 4, organic evolution, origin of life, and microevolution, charging from one kind to another. Now, those first 5 are religion, in fact, that have never been proven, but science has to do with proof, knowledge, and observation. They have only observed these things. They have never proved them or have knowledge of those. Now, we do believe in Genesis chapter 1 that the Most High created in the beginning, the Most High created the heavens and the earth, and they also believe in the Big Bang. And they both go off faith according to Hebrews chapter 1. Faith is substance of things not seen. They say they are not religious, but they were not here for the Big Bang, nor were we here when God created Adam. So they both go off faith. And so that's why I wanted to call in and tell you. And also in Job 30 and 16, it talks about God creating the springs and the sea. And, scientists did not discover that until 1977. So science has been wrong plenty of times. That's how George Washington actually got killed. They say he had bad blood, and they drained too much of his blood out, and he died. So science has been wrong plenty of times. So that's why I wanted to call in. I know I went pretty fast. I only have a short, limited time, so I wanted to call in just to give that my point of view on that, what the brother was talking about, giving so forth his strong information. That's why he started talking about botany, the life of plants and stuff. He started going around in circles. When you ask him about how they start get created, he tried to give you like a little book, which don't explain anything. But that's why I wanted to call in. Shalom, brother.
Well, brother, you made some great points. Bless you.
All right, my brother Jimmy. Shalom. When you hear mute, just hit 1 for me, okay? Please. Tawara. Shalom. Yeah, go ahead and hit 1 for me, brother Jimmy. And what's the next caller? We have brother Ezra. Ezra with a comment. Shalom, brother.
Hey, shalom, brother Gocc, Elder Ricard.
Hey, Ezra.
Great show, man. Enjoying it. Hey, but I just want to read a couple scriptures real quick, and then I'm off.
Okay.
The brother that just came on, he just laid it out for me to read this. Psalms 147 and 19. He hath showed his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He hath not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Most High. And then Psalms 109, verse 6. Set thou a wicked man over him, and let Satan stand at his right hand. So I just want to read that scripture, and that's for the atheists out there. And bless you, brothers, man. Great show. Shalom.
Bless you, brother, and we're going to talk soon.
All right, brother.
All right, bless you. Oh, man. Ezra, great brother. I'm glad to hear from him. and his wife, his whole family. He's just a good brother. He's been working a long time, so we're gonna get that back. I wanted to say he was right on that he showed up his word unto Jacob. Lex Wilches posted something that was interesting when they started going into science and computer, and I asked the question, what computer he seen built itself? I mean, everything they say just gives more credence to the fact that it must be a creator behind everything. And the reason they tend to sway away from a creator is not because they don't believe it's a creator. It's sin that they're looking to cover. They're going about it the wrong way. It doesn't change. Your sin doesn't change by convincing yourself there is no God. Well, if I believe there is no God and there's no judgment, then I don't feel as bad as I should concerning this particular sin. So that's why it tells us that those that believe that way become corrupt. They corrupt themselves. Why? Someone with a conscience towards God, even if they're doing wrong, eventually their conscience will bring them to repentance. It may take some time, but their conscience will actually bring them to some level of conviction before they meet their Maker. And that's the problem with atheists, is that if they don't deal with that part there and understand that they will meet their Maker, if they don't really do something about that, there's no room for repentance, and then eventually it's, eternal hell and damnation. Atheist is an arm of Satanist.
Yo, I think we proved that clearly tonight with these guys, you know. And I tell you what, when Azariah put it out that we're looking for an atheist to come on the show, he received a whole heap of response after that, people calling him, you know, telling him that they wanted to come on. You know, I think when they heard Bible and, you know, Christian based, you know, Bible conversation, I think that, you know, like, yeah, I'll go on. You understand me? But
yeah,
you know.
And I'm trying to figure out what's up with this atheist that came on who say he don't care about nothing. I mean, so if you don't care about nothing, then what are you on the show for? You care about tearing down those who believe. That's his care.
Mm-hmm.
He want to prey on the unlearned and those who don't know the Bible, who are just searching for their way. That's where atheists come in at. They come in to try to teeter you on the side of doubt before you get a chance to grow root or get a foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, they're evil at the core. And I'm listening to this guy, and he's like, I don't care about nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But what you want to show for? You care about something. You thought you were dealing with some Christians, some people who didn't know anything. That's what you thought. Okay.
Yeah, man, it was funny, man. You know, I definitely want to go back over the show again, man, and have a listen to it, man. You know, and examine it. You know, it's something that we never done this before. We never have an atheist on. You understand? So, I don't. This is the first time, El Rakai, you have interviewed on, right?
Huh? Yeah, this is the first time I've spoken to them on the streets. Let me tell you, on the streets, we have converted and baptized atheists.
Right.
The majority of the atheists I ran into was not because they didn't believe in God. It's just that Christians, they knew something was wrong with Christianity because it didn't make any sense, because they would listen to what the Christians say, and they read the Bible, it was something different.
Uh-huh.
And when they did have certain questions, Christians could not answer it, like creation. How was the earth created? What created it? Just simple things like that. And that's why you notice evolution starts with creation, so that they can explain something Christians cannot.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a few good pastors out there, and it's unfortunate that none of them are our people. It's a shame that our people, not one black preacher you can see that go in creation and break it down correctly to oppose atheist teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Not one black preacher.
Mm-hmm.
We talking about sowing a seed into someone's ministry and the power of God and the love of money and all that. And I got a good car and I got a dog costs $5,000 and all this and that.
Mm-hmm.
And not one of us can, and that's why the atheist teachings are growing. They're growing amongst our people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then you got the sodomites running all around, just loose. Let me tell you, Christ is coming back with his sword. He's cutting cats in half, heads rolling.
Oh man!
I mean, I was calm at first when I was dealing with Pastor Manning. I was in the right spirit. I was feeling, and then these guys come on, and this guy don't even know how to dialogue. Like, hold up, brother, hold up. No, the way we do it here, you listen, and then you speak, and I listen, then I speak. These guys, these guys got a lot of nerve. They come on someone's land, steal their land, okay? Set up all types of confusion and madness. And set up an educational system that was actually established to keep their mechanism or to keep their machine going. Mm-hmm. And then after you done enslaved and killed the people and dumbed them down, now you feel that at any time when you come in the room, you should be the authority. Let me tell you, the party's over.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob, the lion, is not crouched down as an old lion anymore. Let me tell you, Judah is up on all four paws ready to pounce. And see, that's what they don't understand. Okay, we're not sitting down, crouched down. Oh, yes, master. Okay, yeah, you can put a sentence together. You're pretty smart. No, you're simple as you can be. And all of them, they are super simple. And see, I have patience with Pastor Manning because I understand Pastor Manning have a mission. You understand, and he's fervent on that mission. And if you give him the understanding, he'll weigh it. And you know what? I believe he will.
Hey, Elder, hey, not just the lions, the wolves are here already as well. You get me? So hey.
Yeah. Hey, brother. Hey, you know when the lions pounce, and then you know the wolves will devour.
Hey, the wolves are here, ready to go.
Oh man, the wolves. Hey, let me tell you, Benjamin. There's no rap with Benjamin. Benjamin is bringing the sword and talking later. Judah is more of a diplomat that can bring things together. But I mean, Benjamin just cut loose.
Yeah, when cut first, ask questions after.
All right, what we got? What we have there?
Okay, let me see. We have Sister Shirley with a question. Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
You're on the air, sister.
Oh, hi. Praise God for all you guys. I just wanted to say that first hello to the elders, and it was a wonderful show. But I just wanted to say that the atheists, what he first came out and said was that they pride themselves on not believing in any deity. And the funny thing about it is they have a very strong belief in a deity, and that deity is the scientist. Their Bible are the science books, and it takes a lot of faith for them to really believe 10 billion years ago this happened and that happened. And I think his fight was almost the same kind of fight that we would put up to justify what we believe, because that is their faith. And it's a very strong faith that they have, and it's very convenient because it allows them, it doesn't require anything from them. They have the authority to do as they feel. And the really weird thing about that is if that was the religion for any society where everybody had a free-for-all, it would be like it was in the days of Noah. The earth would be certainly filled with violence, and we're all about there now. So I just, with, listening in, and I missed some parts, and someone may have said it already, but it certainly seems that they have their religion, and their religion is the science of the day, and they stand on it firm, and they justify it, even though it's an unstable environment. And that's what I thought.
And if you wouldn't have known any better, for you to close your eyes, their spill is almost the same as the pagan.
Absolutely. You can do anything you want to do. Absolutely. But they're calling themselves free.
Yeah. We had the pagans on a few months ago, and if you close your eyes, it's the same jargon.
But
go ahead, I'm listening.
But the real point that I think that you brought out, which was really powerful, is that they really go after Christians. And they go after most Christians because we don't know anything. And that's the truth of it. And when you learn a little bit of what's really true, you do kind of start running away from Christianity, because then all of a sudden you start seeing the foolishness that's in church. And you just don't understand what happened, how maybe only my mother is duped into this or something like that. So it gives us more of an energy to get out there and speak to our brothers and sisters, because eventually their children, if nothing else, will fall prey to this type of religion.
Sister, that's well spoken. It's well spoken, and I'm gonna tell you, it's a shame, because there's nothing wrong with seeing the faults in Christianity if you're willing to stand with the truth and put down paganism.
Exactly.
But the point is, they will point out the flaws, like the zeitgeist and all that, which are atheists and Satanists also. They'll point out the flaws that they created. Don't forget, they created this theologian doctrine through the Catholic Jesuits, and they did it knowing that one day they would tear it down.
Right.
And make those who believed in those theories atheists.
You're so right.
So the onus is on every individual to read that Bible for themselves and search out their own soul salvation with fear and trembling, and believe that book and have a foundation in that book on their own. That's imperative, because any man can steer you off if what they're saying is not in Scripture. Now, if you're looking at that Bible and what they're saying is the Word, then that's the Word. But you have to have a foundation to weed through the madness, and most Christians are too lazy to do that. So,
too lazy,
good point.
And never been taught. Sister Shirley, thank you for the comment. Could you hit one, please? I'll put you back in the queue. We're down to the last 5 or so minutes. Let's see if we can get these last 2 callers in. I see Brother Gabriel here said with an important question. And I asked Brother Gabriel to ask the question, and then while Elder Rakar answers, I'll put the next caller. Go on, Brother Gabriel.
Kwam Yashala. Salam Wabarakatuh. Quick question. I want to ask, is the Holy Spirit created before Christ, or was it created at the same time?
The Holy Spirit was created before Christ.
Brother Gabriel, did that answer your question? Did you get that?
Yes. Can I ask one more question? Is it proper to call her the mother or something like that, or just the Holy Spirit?
Yeah. The Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit in itself is a feminine spirit. Okay. And the Holy Spirit is the mother. But see, I don't like to deal with those terms, even though the scriptures call her a she, but it never refers to her as mother. When you do that, then it's too much similarity to what the Catholics would do with marriage. You'd rather call her like someone put inside the chat, Rawak, which is spirit. It's the feminine spirit, Rawak.
All right.
Okay.
Look, hey, can I plug the GOCC Chicago conference line?
Excuse me?
I deal with the GOC Chicago, and we do a conference line right now because we can't congregate. I wonder if I can plug it for anybody in the Chicagoland area on Friday.
I can't hear him clearly. What did he say, Gocc?
I think he's saying he's putting it out that he does a GOCC conference for the Chicago area. So he said, are you just advertising that, Brother Gabriel?
It's just fine, you know. That's all. I don't want to do nothing, you know.
Okay. I'm hardly hearing you myself. Could you just repeat it slowly, please?
Yeah, we can't hear you, brother.
I was saying if it was okay, can I get a conference number and a PIN number? Could we do conference calls on Friday at 7:30?
Sure. Is Lamada Hobb over that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. What is it?
209-255-1000. PIN number is 309-284.
Okay, great. And tell Ahmad I said hello, and I'll speak to him soon.
The water. Y'all have a blessed night. I love y'all, man. Y'all got me on point.
Okay, boy, bless you, brother. Keep it up.
Shalom. All right, I think we'll be able to take one more caller in, and that's Brother Greg in Arizona.
Shalom, my brother.
Shalom, brother. I'm sorry.
Shalom, brother. How you doing?
Last month.
All right.
Shalom.
Yeah, I was just starting to notice how I'm starting to deal with this. I'm starting to notice how Christians and atheists don't really have too much of a difference in between each other. Christians want to believe certain parts of the Bible. The atheists only want to believe in faith in only their own religion, but they don't never want to intake as a faith. It's in all of it. Faith is for you to believe that it's 10 billion years old. Faith believes that Christ walked the earth. But the difference is these Christians are starting to go to the atheist side instead of coming to the belief side, and that's what I'm starting to notice. With the debates I'm going through, in Arizona with these Christians that want to believe parts of the Bible, and the parts they want to believe is contrary to the Word of God or contrary to Christ. And it's just amazing how the conversation with these two atheists reflect a lot of conversation I have with these so-called Christians. Shalom, my brother.
Okay.
That's right on point.
Hello?
Yeah, that was all I wanted.
Well, bless you, brother. That's right on point.
Yeah, man. Okay, hold on. Let me say this. I wanted to play the soundbite there when you asked certain questions and the answer came out. Let me play it. 13 seconds. Listen to this.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. May God have mercy on your soul. Look up idiot.
Yeah,
what was that? What was that?
As a soundbite from what scripture is that? I wanted to play that before when the interview was going on, but it goes on for too long. It's not like the other one. That's only for 3 seconds.
But where's that outtake from?
I'm not sure. I have to check, Brother Rai, where it's from, where that one is from.
Oh, okay.
All right, we're down to about a minute and a half before the show cuts out. Just gonna say to everyone, if they want to go over to the Ustream for, I don't know how long we're gonna be in Ustream for tonight, Elder. I don't know when this finished.
Yeah, we can discuss a little bit on it. Yeah, I'll call you up.
Okay. All right. So with that, for everyone here, I'm just gonna play a track out. Say shalom to everyone, and I'll see you next week, same time, same place, Most High willing. Okay, and may the Most High keep you. Shalom.